good music now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the third TierMaker episode on the GregsynthWizard channel. And not only have I brought three amazing people with me to discuss Elton John's 1985-86 UK tour leg, we're going to be hotly contesting some gigs here, because let me tell you something. I've been waiting for this for a long, long time. And it's one thing to talk about the gigs via text. It's one thing to talk about them on Discord, kind of write a little bit about them on YouTube. But when you have three people who are super passionate about a tour leg, who are interrupting your daily lives with certain comments on text messages and Snapchats and Facebook, Discord, email, saying stuff like you lose and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. You know, it's one of these things where I have to just do this for my own sanity. And I have been speaking with a particular person over the last few weeks, and even though the idea got shot down and vetoed a couple times, I think third time's the charm, because I believe in that philosophy. And, you know, it's going to be, we're going to be having some teams here, because on one hand, you have myself and TSS Killer and hi, how are you? on the American Muscle side, and then
within 5 seconds of putting forward the idea, it's a straight no.
Wonderful.
Well,
I had to sanitize my hands. Like,
look, here's the deal. I'm not making this up. This is a shoot, but. After the 284,
Vince Russo, let's go.
After the 284 TierMakers, after the 284 TierMaker episodes, I got sent an email. I'm going to keep this individual's name redacted for a couple reasons, but the person in particular had a minor criticism of what I was saying on the 84 TierMakers in calling the Elton Bootlegs and Ethan here Team Nancy Boys. Now I understand that the gay community in the UK is a little bit riled up about some of the comments I was making and telling me that, you know, the Elton Bootlegs and Ethan poor representation of the community, so they told me not to, you know, use that name to describe them. So I agree. So the new name for these two fine gentlemen is the British Bullfrogs. So there you go. The British Bullfrogs.
Bulldogs.
Whatever. But but I had Davy Boy and Dynamite, you know, threatening bodily harm to me with ribs.
Just imagine a frog with a fucking Union Jack on this. Good shit.
I've seen it.
I've seen strange things. So
yeah, it's gonna look like you know, like a bastardized Amazon tree frog or whatever.
All right. So basically, you know, we have our teams figured out. So TSS, are you ready to team up with me and defeat these two?
Well, depending on what your definition of defeat is,
we need to be superior here, because I'm getting tired of the fact that everyone gangs up on me and these previous TierMakers and making me.
Or you're going to end up in Lake Superior.
Because I am superior. But I am superior because I am the old. Wait, I'm sorry, that's wrong.
No, you're not.
Whatever.
Greg, you got to show me your gray hair, and then we could fucking talk.
No, what I meant to say was I'm older compared to those two, so that makes me superior. But of course, you know, whatever. But still, we're gonna.
It's live, pal. Sorry.
I know it is. Fuck off.
It's live in the car.
So as you can tell, we're all very excited to do this TierMaker for a multitude of reasons. And but if we're looking at the big picture, no pun intended, this has been one that has been
9 years, Greg. Next.
Yeah, 9 years in the making, and so basically, I am so looking forward to this TierMaker because this is a very special, you know, tour leg of Elton's, and and I think all of us actually kind of I wouldn't say grew up with the tour leg, but we were there when these bad recordings surfaced, and we purchased them from CDRs and got the upgrades. So this tour leg is like it. You know,
Well,
it
and
keeps
not to
coming
mention,
back.
and not to mention, we had to redo a debate 6 times.
Yes. So what I'm going to do is while I compose myself, I'll let Ethan start. You know, a little summarization of his thoughts on this tour leg and kind of how we got into it, and just a general synopsis on the tour leg and what you think of it. So go ahead.
Well, I absolutely love this tour leg. To be honest, it's really good. It's a new band compared with the '84. The '84 had the classic band. No, it has Charlie Morgan on drums, David Payton on bass, and new backing singers and stuff like that. There's also a change in Elton's voice as well. There's more focus on belting and like middle range stuff, which is nice. But you can still hit all the stuff that he needs to and stuff like that. Yeah, it's really good. It's really fucking good. First show I ever heard was Sheffield, that we're going to talk about later on. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. I pretty much said what I needed to say. So
Yeah, and there's also a certain gig you keep throwing in my face that we'll talk
yes.
about. So
Yes.
now I'm debating here. Oh, never mind that. Elton Bootlegs. I'm nice, so you go next.
Oh, how kind of you. So the first thing I ever heard from this tour, I remember it very well. It was a late one night about 11 years ago, and I got an email from Greg that says, "Here's a song from a gig. You'll never have heard of it before. It's Someone Saved My Life Tonight from 1214, and it was mwah. And there'll be lots of that coming tonight." And ever since then, my love for the tour just increased and increased and increased. And obviously, you've got the later legs as well, which we'll be touching on in several months' time. And I can't wait to do those as well, because they're going to cause debate, maybe some friction between Greg and a few of us. So that could be fun. But yeah, this tour leg is one of my all-time favourites. And I really can't wait to discuss it. I want to keep my powder dry. So that's all you're going to get from me for now.
Yeah, friction is an appropriate word for maybe not so much this tour leg, although I'm of course I'm expecting, you know, big debates on certain shows, but man, when we get into the later ones, I'm gonna be up for days. TSS Killer.
How you doing? Okay,
I'm doing fantastic, so go ahead.
All right, so 85-86 UK tour. Just like Elton Bootlegs, I heard of this about 10 years ago. That was one of the first recordings we've gotten from this tour, I remember. And it was from an FM broadcast source. And what I could definitely say is that it's definitely one of the best periods of for Elton's voice, and musically as well. The 13-piece band on stage really showed their prowess, especially later on in the leg, where you'll have some great musical moments and musical tightness that was kind of missing from the previous tours with the original lineup. Charlie Morgan is like a machine. He knows how to keep time, and he definitely makes these gigs. It's not only Elton and the backing singers and the musicianship between, you know, Davey and David Payton and also Ray Cooper, who is on this tour. But Charlie is a great timekeeper, and that's why he stayed with Elton up until 1998. Because he is a master. He went from a session drummer all the way to a live drumming phenom. But overall, for this 85-86 UK leg, you have some of Elton's best performances in his live career, and we're going to talk about that when we get to the individual gigs. But what I can definitely say is that it's definitely worth your time. It's definitely in my top 3 in terms of tours, and can't wait to talk about it.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll quickly put my little summarization of the tour leg up. Yeah, the one of the first things I ever heard from Elton live from an unofficial source was the famous 12/14/85 broadcast. It's got nicknames like Lord Chalk Ice Goes Mental, and but you know there's different versions of the show out there. Thankfully, most of the better versions are out on YouTube, so you can fully appreciate the show. Um, yeah, I absolutely love this tour leg. It's among my favorites overall in Elton's live career. Um, you have high energy, you have amazing singing by Elton, you have songs that he has revived after not playing them on stage for many years, and it's really interesting to hear him do these songs with a much more mature voice, with a refined vocal technique. One of them being Burn Down the Mission. Like, if you compare him singing that in the early 70s to about 74 to this tour leg, it's like, wow. Crazy versions of songs. It's some of the last times where he just nails songs with album phrasing or does embellishments, and then he like goes all out on these shows, and he's phenomenal through the whole tour leg. And there's some gigs that are among his best vocal gigs of it, at the very least, the decade. The band is amazing. We have as everyone has said, different band. You have a different drummer in Charlie Morgan, who is my personal favorite Elton drummer because of his amazing ability to rein in everything, keep time, and he takes control of these songs. And if you want someone behind the kit, to guide you through songs, he's the man. You have David Payton, amazing bass player. He locks in with Charlie amazingly, and the foundation of the band is extremely solid. Like, if you got those guys playing in your band, you're in good hands. And then Fred Mandel is still there, great as always. You have amazing backing vocalists. The horn section, which is a new addition, which I believe the last time a horn section was on stage was in late '74.
Yes.
But here, the Onward International horn section, these guys, I mean, I personally love the addition of the horns. I know there's some that prefer a more stripped down band and, no brass and woodwind instruments, but I like the horn section because I think they add some twists and turns to the songs. I like their arrangements. And for the most part, they're pretty much spot on through the whole, tour, specifically this tour leg. And then, Davies in fine form. So you basically have an amazing juggernaut of a band here. And yes, I love the classic lineup for Elton. I love the three-piece. I love, the band in '74 and the Jump Up era, and I love the '84 lineup with Fred Mandel. But there are other bands besides the classic era that are amazing, and this is one of them. So I love this band, and as great as they are at this part of the tour, this is just giving you a preview of what's going to come later on. So I so look forward to discussing these gigs and everything. And yeah, with you three fine gentlemen, let's blow our voices out and let's get on with ranking these gigs.
Yep.
Yeah.
So first, before the tour proper, Elton did an appearance at Live Aid, and yes, I am aware of a lot of technical issues that happened, especially early on. And then as I'm listening to it, I'm trying to find a counterbalance between all the technical faults and sound issues versus the main performance and how Elton is performing these songs. And yeah, I mean, Elton himself sounds really good at Live Aid. I don't know how he's able to keep good intonation on I'm Still Standing with all the damn feedback and out of tune instruments, and all the cacophony going on. Don't Go Breaking My Heart is so well sung. Uh, High Range is still intact, nails it. Can I Get a Witness is fun, especially the feedback at the beginning. And Benny is a fun listen with all the random lyrical changes and the overdriven phrasing. But and then Rocket Man's very solid. But yeah, for Live Aid, it with the technical issues, it kind of was getting a little hard to figure out where to put this. I'm kind of torn between like highish B and like low A for Live Aid because of I'm trying to like find a balance between the two because when you get out of the technical mishaps, there's some really good magic going on, but it's really hard for me to pin down exactly where I want to put this on the tier maker. But I want to start by putting it at the absolute highest level of B. And I know this is separate from the tour leg, so I'm not going to compare this to the tour proper, different set and everything, but I want to put Live Aid at the highest level of B only because of technical issues dragging it down, but when there's no technical issues, you start to hear some magic among this band and Elton. And I think Elton, despite the problems with the sound and everything, pulls off these songs quite well. Who would like to begin?
I guess I should begin.
Well, yeah. I mean, you talk first, so go ahead.
Yeah. So, in terms of Live Aid, really good performances, as Greg said. It's too bad about the feedback issues, which is the reason why I'm Still Standing has never been officially released to this day, which is kind of a shame. Which is kind of a shame because this is the really the first time he started to do a lot of the embellishments in the choruses. And aside from David Payton's bass being out of tune and Davy Johnstone's guitar not playing the right notes and wrong chords and backing singers flat, I'm surprised that Elton, as Greg has said, he was able to stay in key. But what really stands out for me would be Don't Go Breaking My Heart, which is arguably the best version of the song. 82 was too fast, and some of the stuff and even though the attempt at Edinburgh 76 is good, it's not as good as this. This is still the definitive version for me. Don't Let the Sun from Don't Let the Sun. That was pretty interesting because you could actually see Elton trying to sing while we have George Michael on vocals, and it's like you really could tell that Elton wanted to sing that song. But still, regardless, the band is flawless there. Although for Benny, not many people know this, but Elton was referring to people who would be shooting water cannons onto the crowd. That's why he said there's a spot in heaven that's been known to change the weather. That's been documented. But I'd say the version from the sound check is better. He actually hits G's on the third chorus in the sound check, and while he stays on C for some reason. It's the only time that he actually was conservative during this era on Benny. But he still hit all the B4s in the magazine, and like I said, it was pretty loose, but it worked for a band who basically got together on in a few days' time. That was still pretty good. As far as Rocket Man goes, I'd say both the I'd rank both the sound check and the main performance of equal quality. I mean, it's perfectly fine. I mean, you have the fleen thing in the sound check, but aside from that, very solid performance overall. I'm more inclined to actually give it a low A because of that. I'm willing to get some of the technical issues out of the way because honestly, it wasn't Elton's fault. It was not the band's fault that they couldn't sound check on stage, and that's why a lot of performances from Live Aid usually get the shaft, because it's like, oh, look at that, so bad. We talk about fucking the Led Zeppelin reunion because we know about that shit. But realistically, it's because they couldn't tune the instruments on stage. So the technical issues were plaguing almost all of the performers at Live Aid. So we really can't bring it down for that. It would be a technical issue if the band fucked up in a way that this would have been preventable. So in that case, I will give this a low A.
All right. The Elton bootlegs, go ahead.
Well, I disagree with Greg's high B on Live Aid, and I'm more towards TSS Killer's rating of a low A. I actually give this a medium A because I'd be a bit more forgiving of the feedback issues. I blame Ratty from Queen for all these issues. I mean, there were issues earlier on, but they weren't as bad as they were after he turned the bloody sound up, and then everyone can't hear themselves. Performances from this gig, I mean, Don't Go Breaking My Heart is an elite version. Like, if you took that standalone performance, you'd make it an all-star, because everything just works. And one of my biggest regrets from this tour that we're going to talk about is that Kiki D wasn't used for various parts. I mean, it would have been a great encore number, I feel. Like, that and Kiss the Bride together. But it's a shame it wasn't used. Benny and Rocket Man are both very nice. Can I Get a Witness is unique. I enjoy Nick Clark's baritone vocals in the background. It's a shame he didn't go on with her. That'd have been fun. But then again, we had a decent backing group anyway for singing. But yeah, I give this a medium A. I'd be a bit more generous. Just some of the performances are just top notch, and it gives you a flavour of what's going to come over the next months and 18 months. So yeah, I'll go with a mid A.
Ethan, how about you? What's your take at Live Aid?
I'm sort of torn between TSS Killer and Elton Bootlegs' ratings. I'm not sure where to put it just because of the feedback issues. Like, I don't know how forgiving I am of it. Performances wise, amazing. Like, again, I would say that Don't Go Breaking My Heart is the best one because of all the things that the TSS Killer said. Delta Sun has George Michael, who sounds fantastic, by the way, on it. I'm gonna go with TSS Killer's rating of a low A.
Yeah, I can bump it up to low A because I was kind of torn between low A and high B, but if I were to be a little more generous with the feedback and technical issues, I would definitely put it at low A just to kind of balance it out a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't disagree. Low end A, I would compromise on. So we good with this one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yep.
We all win. And before we go into the tour proper, Elton, this is not on the TierMaker because of how short it is, but a week before the tour commenced, Elton did a very quick appearance on UK television called The Tube. And
Oh no!
Tub of lard.
Oh no!
Yeah, or as the Brits would say, the tube. Right?
Yes, the tube. Yeah.
Excuse me, the tube. So he does a few songs. Andy Kaufman, but you have you have Elton doing a few performances. You have him performing "This Town," "Sad Songs," "Nikita," and "Burn Down the Mission." So it's sort of like a preview to the tour proper.
November 8th, 1985.
Yep, exact date. This Town is, just to quickly kind of go through this, This Town is among the best versions. It's so tight. and Elton sings it so well. Sad Songs is sung very aggressively. It's slowed down slightly compared to 84, so there's a little bit more of an R&B-ish sort of a vibe to it, but it's still, it's a very good version of the song. Nikita has Elton performing with demo lyrics and making up lyrics and stuff, but he sounds so good on it. And, apart from that, very, very good. And then what we have at Burn Down the Mission is fantastic. You kind of get a preview of how good this band is. And, Elton's, changed voice, or I should say, matured voice, and his refined singing delivery and technique is really on display there because, man, you listen to him sing Burn Down the Mission 85 and compare it to something in the previous decade, and it's like, wow. Like, it's like almost a completely different singer. But yeah, I appreciate the performances on the tube. So, that's just me. You guys want to quickly talk about it real quick before we move on to Sheffield?
I want to also mention that on Nikita, it's the only time where he actually sings second octave on the Look Towards the West. He does go up to the third octave on And Find a Friend, but it's the only recorded documented that he actually stays on the second octave for Look Towards the West.
There's actually another one from the US tour of '86.
Yeah,
well,
but
I say stays. I don't think he wanted to.
no, it's like, but it's the only one that he has it in good voice. Let's just say it's the only one that's in good voice because it's in a completely different context.
Yeah, it's like this makes me cringe thinking about it.
It's like, as I say, Byron Lyric Club, which Elton himself laughs at, it's probably the closest you'll get him to sing it like he did in the studio. So
yeah. Plus, I mean, the solo sounded so good, and it was just it like musically you could tell that this was musically better than I would argue it's musically better than the studio.
Yeah,
it is.
I agree with that. Yeah,
yeah, because because some of the Ice on Fire songs, to me, I mean, I like quite a few of them, but the production's a little too synthetic or artificial sounding, and it's drowned in layers of not that I have anything wrong against the synthesizers, but it's like when you hear the same songs played live, it's like it just they come alive a lot more. It sounds so much better in the live environment. Like, they translated very well to the live stage.
Yeah, agreed.
Much better production.
I'd be concerned about you, Greg, if you were complaining about the use of synths, considering your name is Greg Synth.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be the most hypocritical thing I would ever say on a TierMaker. But
and you have said some hypocritical things over the years.
Yeah, right. But
hypocritical fool.
Elton Bootlegs, what are your thoughts on the tube?
I love it. Calm down, Greg. You've got a load of gigs to fight back, but I'm not confident for you. No, the tube is sensational.
Okay. Now here's another question. If we did have to rank it, will we put it in the all-star tier?
For the tube,
yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it's just so little.
Well, Live's little, and yet we've ranked that.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell.
Just think, when we get to the European tour, we've got the Patrick Sabatier show to talk about. That's one performance.
How the fuck are you going to rank one performance in the context of a tour?
Well, it is an all-star performance.
Well, I agree it's amazing, but you're really trying to get at me now. But I would rank the two very, very high. But now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, where we now are in the tour proper.
Yeah.
Now, the first gig we have, the earliest recording is from Sheffield, and I know this is an extremely fun show, and I know there are certain people here who are absolutely drooling like crazy animals to try and talk about it. So what I'm gonna say is I want the Elton bootlegs to start this off.
Okay. Wow, Sheffield. 11/26/1985. This was one of the first shows I can remember buying on a CD. Just over 10 years ago it would have been. Yeah, it was like winter 2010 or spring 2011 I got this. And the quality that we have now compared to what we got is a vast difference. And this show just highlights the prowess of this new band. I mean, it's not quite 100% the well-oiled machine that you get later on into the tour, but it is still a really good sound. Especially if you're looking for your first gig of the tour. I mean, I wish we had an earlier date, because they would be fascinating to compare against. But performances on this gig are a little bit different to others, especially singing style as well. I mean, Elton sings more like 1984 compared to later on where he'll go for a more lighter tone. Overdrive, which you can hear on some songs, isn't as pronounced. And I would also say that this is one of David Payton's best shows for Elton. His bass playing is just on another level. We'll talk about performances shortly, but I'm actually going to give my ranking now and it goes into the All-Star category. There are some moments of the show, I must point out some negatives as well. Elton will forget the odd lyric here and there. Passengers and Blues are the main notable ones for that. But there are some songs on here that are just unbelievably good. Like Someone Say For Me is the best version. TSS Killer was right all them years ago. But then you have like Tonight, which is one of the best from the era. One Horse Town is very unique. Burn Down the Mission is wonderful. Restless, Benny, Kiss the Bride, mwah. This Town, mwah. All the Ice on Fire songs sound amazing and showcases why Elton's a better live performer than he is in the studio. I also enjoyed Can I Get Up This as well from this gig. There's some very bluesy moments. But yeah, I would give this an all-star.
Well, fucking hell. We're starting off strong. Ethan.
We are.
Yeah, Ethan, why don't you go next?
I agree with Elton Bootlegs. I think this is an all-star show.
Yeah.
It's it's the first show I ever heard, but that's not my reason why it's an all-star. Unlike Greg, it's just the fact that the performances are just amazing. Like you got Tonight, which is by the rough tone. It's one of the only times he hits the falsetto. You got One Horse Town, which is unique. As against Elton Bootlegs said, Someone Said is amazing. Burn Down the Mission's fantastic. It's one of those shows that I could listen to every day and not get tired of it. I think so.
Yeah.
I agree with it. I agree that it's an all-star show. Yeah.
All right. Well, for me, I enjoyed, listening to you two, talk about the show, and I know you guys love it, and I love it too. I think it is an amazing show, and I would like to thank the Elton Bootlegs for first, buying a copy on CDR all those years ago and showcasing it to us. Remember the times where we'd upload MP3s over Skype and all that bullshit?
Yep.
That's nostalgic for you. And I got the Elton Bootlegs to thank.
I can still remember listening to these for the first time with everybody in the hall.
Yeah, because at that point when you were buying the CDRs and everything, I believe the only other gigs we had available for this part of the tour were 12-14 and then Birmingham, and I think maybe one of them. Yeah, I think Belfast. I think one of the Manchesters was out.
12-3 it was.
But we didn't have. Yeah.
I bought Sheffield 12-1, 12-18, and 12-19 in the same batch.
Yeah, so essentially we have the Elton Bootlegs here to thank for introducing us to, these shows for the first time, because without his generosity, it would, we wouldn't hear them, right away. So it'd take a little
Yeah,
longer. So
without my generosity, you may not have heard Barcelona.
yeah, it's like thank you, Barcelona. Well, I can't wait to talk about that gig. But yeah, for Sheffield, I personally love the show. Very unique sounding performances. As what the Elton Bootlegs said, Elton sings slightly differently here compared to a lot of the later shows. He delivers the material sounding closer to 84 live stuff as opposed to later on where there's the belting is emphasized and the overdrive and the power voice is emphasized. Here there's a little more reined in on the overdrive. It sounds closer to 84 with a little more dynamics, and then there are songs where he'll sing with a soft tone and then bring out the full power of his voice. It's like there's a lot of dynamic range on some of these performances, and I love it. Band sounds fantastic, and yeah, I love Sheffield. However, I personally would not put it at All Stars. I would put it at the highest of S's, like an upper tier S.
You spoil sport.
Well, let me explain before you kill me. Why I'm going to put it at upper tier S is Elton sounds amazing, no doubt. But yes, there are some flubs with lyrics occasionally, which isn't necessarily the main reason why I'm dropping it very slightly. But the band.
It to spite my opinion.
No, I am not. I appreciate you so much. I love you. But the reason why I want to drop it to high S and not an all star like you and Ethan is because as much as I think the band sound great on this, and I agree. David Payton is high in the mix. He sounds great. I think the band sound better later on in the tour. I think there's still a little bit of that looser sort of a feel to it, to where you don't get the really tight going 110% on the material that you would get later on in late December. Here, it kind of sounds like they're still kind of feeling things out a bit, a little bit more of a looser edge to it, but they're not sloppy or anything. This is not a bad musical show by any means. This is still excellent and musically superior to most of the 84 shows. But I would say the band would sound better later on in the tour, although this is still very high quality. And I think Elton sounds amazing. So I agree with a lot of what you two were saying, but I personally think it belongs as an upper tier S, like a very high S rather than an all-star. That's just my personal take on it. TSS Killer, who's more right? And if I'm wrong, just kill me. And go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you who isn't right. It's not you, because this is an all-star gig. Reason why is this.
Yes!
Reason why is this. It's because of Elton's vocals. Yes, the band aren't as tight as later on, and I do agree on that point. Because while it's one of the only times where you have a clunker note in Fred Mendel's Nikita solo. And then there's some other things. Also, for some reason, Restless is the slowest version on the entire 85-86 tour. It's very slow, and also Elton bungles the words, and that's why I had to change it to
Fall Apart.
We Fall Apart instead of We Just Breed. But this one goes in the All Stars because this was this is one of the last times you hear the gliding voice of Elton on a regular basis. The vocal performances here are great. Especially the C5s in Kiss the Bride, they are absolutely they sound exactly like 84. They actually sound better than the majority of the US 84 deliveries of the C5s. And also he does nice embellishments towards the end that is reminiscent of the stuff that he would do in Euro 84. In addition to that, well, like I said, Someone Saved is like the best version of all, like one of the best versions of all time. The version of Benny is really cool because he does like he has the kind of the glidey, choppy phrasing, which sounds really cool and unique. But like I said, you can really hear like the power. Honky Cat, it is the best version in the pre-surgery era, because of even though he doesn't hit the bottle of wine falsetto, he hits all the outro falsetto, and he is really passionate about his singing. But also he's just One Horse Town, great. Tonight, like I said, nailing the first chorus, like nailing the first chorus there. It's fucking amazing. It's just, you could hear the gliding in his voice, and even Shoot Down the Moon, which used to be the best version, but now it isn't. But it is still one of his best. It's still, the vocal performances from the show is enough to propel it to All-Star. Even though the band is not as tight, the vocal performances, I can name many vocal performances, including Nikita. Nikita sounds almost exactly like the record. Nikita is probably the best vocal performance in the live concert environment. Because there's no lyrical flubs in that. There's only the clunker, as I mentioned, in the solo by Fred. But aside from that, it deserves 100% to be like the best version in a live concert environment, because he sounds, and especially the G4 and the modulation going downwards after the solo, that is better than the record. So for that purpose, this gig gets an All-Star.
Oh.
Well, my next point about Sheffield is, let me do this again. I'm sorry.
That was my pal.
I
got it in there, yeah.
1-0 down.
Don't worry, this is a warm up. But my question for you, the Elton bootlegs.
Yes.
I remember a long time ago, you have said that you would put this on your personal top 10 favorite Elton shows of all time.
Yeah, but that was after hearing a handful, that is. Not as in, like, hearing hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah, so obviously for the tour leg, this is top 10 easy, no problem. But,
but 12 weeks. Unless we're gonna have 12 all-star gigs and it goes at the bottom.
No, but would you consider, to make it a little easier, would you consider this to be a top 10 Elton show for the 80s decade?
Yeah, I would.
Alright.
Yeah, there's several shows from this era that you could put in that category. So
yeah, it's like, I had thought about that ranking for a long time, like my ranking, and I was torn between the highest of S and All-Star. And oops.
Well, I'm glad I had a remedial listen, because I did consider high S, but then I thought, hang on, this gig is just too good to be putting in that category.
Well, especially after we got the upgrade for this, which now puts it in a B or B plus listening category instead of a C. You can really hear the vocal deliveries more clearly.
Yeah. Oh. I'm not going down without a fight. But yeah, I mean, I considered All-Star, but then again, my final ranking was the highest of S, and I've been outvoted. So
you know what that means, Greg.
No, don't even say it, because we're still early in this. Let me warm up. Let me warm up here.
Excuses already.
Gonna give him the sweet shit music.
I'll sink shot suplex the fuck out of you three. But yeah, I'm not gonna contest it, because it's obvious that it's all valid stuff. So. But I still say the band are better later on. At least give me points on that.
But I said it too, and I still gave it an All-Star, so made no difference.
That's twice you've been shot down now. Got anything to verse yourself?
Start Manchester TSS.
All right, so these Manchester gigs. So first of all, I have to give credit where credit is due. The venue for these Manchester gigs, they're small venues, and you could really hear all of the instruments on stage. It's like a really tight sound because you're in a smaller venue. However, though, by this time Elton has caught like a flu, so you start to hear a little bit of sickness in the tone of the voice, and then he has to modify some things to suit that because he's faltering a little bit. So for 12-1 for Manchester here, while it's not as bad as the third one, which is the 12-3, it still is. I mean, the band is okay, but again, the same criticism for Sheffield I'll also give to 12-1. The band do sound better, like a couple of weeks later. But not to say that this is a complete throwaway show, but it's just that because of Elton doesn't sound at his best, and he starts to chop some phrasing off, cut notes, and not hitting some of the notes on top. I'm going to actually rank this one as a high B. That's just what I think.
All right. I'll take over for a second. I agree with you, 100%. And this is not me, kissing up to you, but for me, for 12-1, I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna say high B, and I'm gonna put an asterisk by it because we are missing quite a few songs.
A lot of the songs, because this one is more complete than 12-3.
Yeah, 12-3 has everything now, but now 12-1, we're missing stuff after Wrap Her Up. And
yeah.
So I'm going to put an asterisk by it. Who knows what'll happen if a new copy comes out. But I give it a high B because, we're missing some things, so it's kind of hard to judge. But yeah, Elton's performances, while they're not bad, as you said, he's not at his best. He starts to, he dodges notes. The precision on some of the higher bits, especially like the falsettos on Rocket Man, is not quite there. It sounds, Rocket Man is one of the weaker versions from this era. And the vocal tone, he sings lighter on, he doesn't. It's like you can tell there's a change from Sheffield to this gig. Like he sings lighter. It's not as punchy sounding. I mean, there's still some really good stuff on there. Like Better Off Dead sounds great. But we have One Horse Town is fine. Restless is a perfectly fine version. But yeah, he's not at his best. And the band very solid and steady, but they're on 7 cylinders as opposed to 8 cylinders on this gig. So yeah, I agree. High B for me. So I don't disagree with a single thing you said. Elton Bootlegs.
We all agree. I'm
What?
on a high B as well.
Oh,
Literally,
hell fucking froze over.
I have my ranking sat right in front of me, and I have got high B written down. This, for me, is the weakest show on the leg, but that's not to say that there aren't good performances on there, because there is. But I agree with you guys in the sense that Elton's not quite there with his voice. I mean, Rocket Man, it's one of the rare times where his voice actually gives out on a falsetto, which doesn't sound that appealing. But you do have some great performances. Better Off Dead's really good. Bitch's Back is nice. The medley's got some unique phrasing in it. But compared to Sheffield, this is a step down. I think the band as well are even more... They're not as tight and they're not as energetic as they are at the second Manchester, which is you'll hear about in a moment when I talk about my score for that. But a high B, my lowest ranking for the whole term, so it's going to get better from here.
I hope. Ethan, go ahead.
I can't seem to get into the show. I don't know what it is. it's just I listen to it and I'm like half bored when like halfway through. Again, I don't know if it's the voice bringing it down or what. I can't seem to get into the show at all. So it's not a bad show, you know, because Elton sounds weaker. It's not as bad as 12.3, like TSS said, although there are definitely warning signs that you call like a cold or something. I don't know, maybe it's the quality, because the quality does get a bit harsh towards the end. I don't know. I don't know. It's like something about it is just. I don't know. Yeah, I'm probably just going to agree with you. A high B. I can't get into it at all.
Well, I think it's one of those shows where if we had a complete copy of it and the quality didn't distort towards the end of the recording, it may be better reviewed. Because I remember we had kind of a similar thing with Birmingham '84, where our old copies were missing, a third of the show, and quality wasn't exactly what you would call amazing. Then we got the upgrade, which has the song, everything on it, and we had better things to say about it. But then again, on that gig, we were still kind of meh on some aspects. So maybe it's the same for this show. I don't know, but I wish a complete copy surfaced, just so I could really judge it.
Right.
For a 2-hour show as opposed to a 90-minute recording.
I wish the whole tour leg existed. That would be fantastic.
Oh, we'd be here for 3 days trying to figure things out.
6 hours later.
6 hours later.
The 7th Wembley is the best.
It's like no, that one isn't Sex on Legs. This one's Sex on Legs. But we'll hear about that later. But yeah.
Yes, we will.
The rare time all four of us agree on an exact ranking. It's like, wow. Woo. So Ethan, I know you said you really couldn't get into this Manchester show, but I'll give you another chance. I'll let you start off 12.3, the last Manchester. Can you get into this show?
Yeah, I can definitely get into 12.3. Well, okay, so 12.3, you could definitely tell that he's got a cold or like some sort of laryngitis. The early songs, to about like maybe Bitches Back, sound really like rough around the edges. Tonight, oh my word, Tonight is possibly the worst version on the tour. Well, I don't say possibly, I think it is the worst version on the tour. It's rough vocals and stuff like that, and it loves a lyric. One Horse Town, the falsetto's there, but the falsetto's there in every 85 version, but he nearly goes flat in places. But like, after like Bitches Back or something, voice just warms up and he gets really into the show. It's actually a really good show when his voice when voice warms up. I'm torn between like a low A or like a high, or not high A, low A or a mid A, just because I like the show better than the first show, but the first like 8 songs are very so I'm torn between a low A and a mid A.
Interesting. For me, this last Manchester show is one that, not that I hated it back in the day when we had inferior versions, but it's one of those shows where I would give it a listen or two and then just sort of move on to something else from the tour. But then when we got the better copy, I really started to kind of pay attention to it a little bit. And it's like, I listen to it, and yeah, I agree. Elton is, again, like 12.1, voice is not in top shape. There's something going on, whether it be a minor illness, like a cold, or maybe minor laryngitis. I don't know. But, yeah, the first handful of songs sound pretty rough, raspy. The range is still there, but, some of those upper notes don't sound the greatest. But as you said, after Someone Saved My Life Tonight, and when we start getting into Bitches Back and the medley stuff, he starts to get, more into the show. The voice clears up a bit, and he starts putting a lot more effort behind everything. And while I will not say that this is, Elton's greatest show on the tour leg, or even say that it's a top-notch show in respect to some of the other ones, I really do think this show is a little bit underrated compared to some of the other ones, because honestly, the musicianship really takes off in some aspects on this show. You have Davey has a great night at the office. His guitar solos are fantastic. The I'm Still Standing stuff is great. Bar the string break, but Davey's having a great night at the office. I'm Still Standing's fucking flying. It's like the fastest version from this leg of the tour, or at least up there. But it's a really energetic show, and this is a show where, Elton has some really good performances, especially in the second half. Like, Candle is so unique. Like, he sings it so soft, and there's a lot of dynamics behind it. So it's a unique show vocally, too, because it's like the dynamics, he goes soft, there's overdrive, it's like he does all this random stuff with his voice. And then you have like stuff like Honky Cat, where the dynamics are very erratic, all over the place, and there's specific phrasing that someone else in this TierMaker will elaborate on, because he thought of the term. But yeah, the dynamics and the random sort of takes on sections range from very erratic and weird to unique and good. So I appreciate the show for it. It's like he's trying out new things on the show, for whether it be due to his judgment because of his mind, or maybe to get around the sickness or illness or whatever, or he's just in one of those creative moods. I don't know. But I do appreciate the show for the musicianship. And it's a great Charlie Morgan show. For me, because of the musicianship and the tightness of the band, I would actually put it on the low end of A. I had thought about extremely high B earlier, but when I went back and listened to it again, and then really thinking about the new copy of this show compared to the old ones, I would have probably ranked it a high B on the old copy. But on this one, I really think it's a little underrated. It's a great musical show. Lowest of A.
It's probably the most underrated. It's probably the most underrated show on the tour, I'd say.
Possibly, but yeah, I would put it. Yeah, I would say low A. Maybe not the absolute lowest A, but definitely on the lower end of that tier ranking. So TSS, go ahead.
Yeah, low A for me. So the funny thing is, the last 2/3 of the show is actually pretty good. The first third is kind of, goes off and veers off into weird directions, like Hockey Cat's third chorus having what I like to call the fart phrasing, which is like, whoo, whoo, it's gonna do me good, or like random, like on the second chorus he goes, woo, it's gonna do me good, and then the third chorus is like, ooh, change is gonna do me good. It's like. It's like really. I guess maybe the cocaine's like seeping in, maybe. Yeah, but other than that, Restless is really good. Benny, like I said, once the voice clears up, and even though he still has kind of like the sick tone in his voice, he still has some remnants of the '84 voice in there, especially on this new copy. And the band is much better than they were at 12-1, and you could start to see the improvement from Sheffield too. They're really starting to get into the groove. We still have Wheels Upon the Train, however, so it's still not great. But
we're also living on a ticket.
Living on a ticket too. Yeah. So, but that's Elton's state of mind is not all there, but the band is much tighter, and at least the voice gets better in the latter 2/3 of the show. So low A seems to be a very appropriate ranking for this show. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, and despite the fact that it is, at that ranking, you can still find a lot of good things.
Oh, yeah.
On this show. I mean, you have some amazing musicianship. Davey's great at this show.
Yeah.
Can I Get a Witness is really punchy and aggressively sung. Ton of energy. But yeah, so I quite like it. I mean, is it perfect? No, but
Hell no.
No, but it's a fun listen. It's a really fun show to listen to.
And now we're gonna go to Elton Bootlegs. What does he think?
I actually agree with you all. It's a low A. Now, as I said with First Manchester, that was my weakest, so this had to obviously be better. I could have had it at a high B, but above it. But nah, this one has a bit more of an edge to it. I enjoy, especially the last 2/3 of the show. I mustn't forget the fact that Bernard Manning is a fucking prick. And I must just say how much of a fucking prick Bernard Manning is, right? But
who is he?
Bernard Manning. He's an English comedian.
Okay.
But he's very blue.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
He was a nightclub owner as well. I've heard many stories about his nightclubs where he used to be there, and he's no longer alive. Oh well. But no, this gig is better than 12-1. Once you get past that first bit, I mean, tonight, oh god, the first line of the show and it goes wrong already. The falsetto was very. Ooh. I'd much rather hear versions from Europe, even America. Like, some of the versions from the Americans are better than this. But once the voice clears up, the band really get into the show. I really enjoy this gig, and it is underrated. I will give it a low A.
All right. I can't
What 2
believe
sounds like.
probably about the same. That's my guess. Maybe it's better.
Also, as well, less than a week later after Elton appeared at this place, Dire Straits also rocked up. What TSS said about the venue being small and capturing everything, it's so true, because the 2 recordings from Dire Straits are pretty much the exact same. You can hear every instrument and every little fuck up that goes on. Turn me up, Dave, he shouts as the guitar gives out. It's like, oh, well, he's not going to be able to turn you up then.
Well, I mean, yeah, there are certain venues that, the smaller venues, they got the acoustics right. And this is definitely one of them. And I will be back in a moment.
Yeah,
And he shouts,
absolutely.
when Mark Knopfler's shouting, is anybody recording the show? Well, listen to this. I'm singing off key.
All right. So we're at 12-11.
Yeah.
Ethan, I'll let you go first.
Right, 12-11. I like this show personally. It's the first show of 9 shows, like Greg said. Possibly the most underrated of the 4 we have. I don't see the show nearly talked about as much as 12-14, 12-18, or 12-19. The performances on the show are really good.
Yes, I agree.
Did we lose him?
I hope not.
He's that excited, he's fainted.
The performances are really good. Plop.
There we go.
All right, there we go.
UK internet.
Yes.
Internet. Right. I forgot where I was at.
Okay, the performances on 12-11 are really good. And
Good,
then he died.
and
I would give the show a high S, because I agree with a certain person here that the show's a high S. Because you got Tonight, which is one of the rare times his voice is actually cleaned at the start of the show, plus he hits falsetto, which is fantastic sounding. You got One Horsepower, which by a one note is pretty much perfect. And the rest of the show is amazing as well. So I would give the show a high S.
All right, I'm gonna jump in here because I all of a sudden I felt a little slightly sick. Um, so 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 yeah, the first of the 9 Wembley Arena shows. For 1211, I will take credit in the instance where I did purchase this on CDRs a long time ago, but it's been made
well done.
obsolete. Thank you. I need some credit, and so yeah, I was introduced to this show. I still remember Elton Shop. I remember that website. But as for the show itself, after listening to it a number of times and really kind of comparing it to future shows and some of the earlier ones, there's a lot of good on it that I love. There's a lot of great enthusiasm. The atmosphere is great. Elton sounds, super energetic, and he's in a great mood. Mentions how he was so unhappy in '77, but obviously here he's in much better mood, and it's reflected in his performances. He sings really aggressively throughout this whole set. Like the rockers, there's a ton of, rock and rasp and overdrive and a lot of oversinging through the whole set. Some really aggressive takes on the songs. And there's some wild cards, like Tonight is the best version from the tour leg because he sings similar to the Sheffield version, although his voice is much cleaner. It doesn't have a rougher tone, which sounds awesome. And Restless is really unique with, he's trying new phrasing out in the second chorus, and just so he's trying out all this phrasing, like he's overdoing it in spots, pushing the voice. So he sounds real enthusiastic. There are some goofy moments though, as what Ethan touched upon, like One Horse Town where he bungles the first falsetto bit, but all the other ones sound fine. Then you have Honky Cat, which has some off moments where he's really like aggressively trying to sing the song, but just like the intonation is getting sacrificed for the sake of the tone, the aggressive tone. And then there's some technical issues throughout the show, especially early on where you have like guitar feedback, and there's some moments where the band are not necessarily sloppy, but it's really loose because this begins the Wembley Arena run, and there were no gigs between 12/7 Brighton and this gig, so I'm willing to bet maybe a couple days off, relaxed and kind of getting back into the groove here. So it kind of undoes some of the great musical prowess that was developed at the last Manchester and assumingly at future shows, but I'm just speculating on that one, I'll admit. I like the show. There's wildcard performances, but there's also some off bits on some songs, and some performances don't sound as hot as future gigs and previous gigs in the sense of Elton's deliveries and the band. I think the band sound, there's a looser sound. They're not quite that well-oiled machine you get later on. But I do enjoy the show. For me, I'm sorry, Ethan, and assumingly Elton Bootlegs, but it's not an S gig. I think it goes to an upper A gig, like an A plus, upper A.
You're harsh.
So I'll tell you what, TSS Killer.
Yes.
I will let Elton Bootlegs kind of sulk and figure something out to say to me, and I'll let you go.
Okay, so all right, so what do I think of this gig? Fantastic performances on this gig. Like I said, Tonight is really good. Restless is really good and unique. I do agree with Greg on the fact that this is pretty much the narrative that I have said for a few years now, that just after this gig, this is where the band really get on, they really become a really tight-knit band, and the instrumentation becomes so much better. So this is the last time that we're going to see the band kind of in this kind of very loose state. So in that case, like I said, the band aren't at their best tonight, especially compared to the previous gig, as Greg said. And while Elton's voice is fantastic for the most part, one of the negatives that I can take out of this is that a lot of the times he would overdrive, and he doesn't hit some of the notes on top. There's some flubs in like the medley, which really stood out to me when I last listened to this gig a few weeks ago. That's really like it's like a little bit on the sore thumb. But those things are not as problematic as a certain other gig in the same run, which I'm going to get to in a little bit. But I would still, but despite all of that, I would still rank this one a mid-S. Just because of some of the vocal performances actually being top notch. I'm willing to take the hit. I don't think this is an A gig because an A gig would mean that Elton is for me on this tour leg. An A gig means that Elton's voice is faltering more than he's trying, or his mental state. So I would actually say, Elton is actually on his head here. He's actually pretty level-headed on this gig. So I am willing to actually give this one a mid-S in this case.
Oh, TSS, I love you, TSS. I love you.
I love you for that, TSS. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, Greg.
You know what that means?
GregsynthBootlegs has left the call.
There you go. You know what that means.
Elton Bootlegs a homosexual. Fa la 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 la. You know.
I'm still standing.
You know what? Why don't you just go on 12/11, and
Okay.
I will let you speak. I'm just gonna sit here and just debate what the fuck I'm doing right now.
He's gonna sit there and sulk more like, yeah.
Right, so me and Greg about 10 days ago had a little discussion about this tour, and we sort of gave like provisional ratings for gigs. And I said that I felt that this gig was one of the most underrated from the era, and I gave it a high S. And Greg was like, no, you can't give it that. I'm giving it a high A. So I was like, right, okay, you can give it that. So my reasoning for giving this a high S, there are performances on this gig that are outstanding. Tonight is almost perfect. One Horse Town, almost perfect. Someone said I love the way he delivers it so aggressively. There are moments, as TSS says, there are some sloppier moments, but I couldn't put this gig into the A category. It's too good to go in there. And plus, my view of this show is that it is slightly better than other Wembley shows, so therefore it had to go as a high S.
Son of a bitch.
Sorry, Greg.
Oh, God. You know what that means, don't you? So,
Okay. All right. Let's get our mouths off this gig's cock for a second. All right. I can see Sheffield, as an all-star, even though I thought it was high ass, but I could give you that because it is an excellent show and I love it and all that bullshit. But 12/11, I get it. You love the show, and yes. It is highly energetic. It is very spirited. Yes, there are some excellent vocal performances on this. I don't disagree with any of that. But high S?
Yes.
It's like the sick that's coming from the person that gave I Am Your Robot 4 3/4 out of 5.
That doesn't count. But it's like, my explanation for putting this at high A was because I think the band are just better later on, better musicianship, much more of a tight band. And even though Elton does sound great, I just think on some later shows there's more precision. There's a little more control. There's more a little more dynamic. There's less, intonation mistakes.
Yeah,
on this.
but
That's
but for me, the energy on this show is one of the things that really shines through. Like, you can tell they're having an excellent time on stage, and you could just feel it off the recording. So that's why it's a high S.
But a high S is like almost going into the All-Star. Like,
yes, it is.
This is like,
yes.
I just can't see it being there. I can understand if someone wanted to put it at like low S, but high S, like either we have a lot of gig cocksucking going on, or I just am underrating the show too much, or
You're underrating the show too much.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what here. Since I'm at high A and you three are at what, mid S, high S, something like that.
Mid to high S.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I am not falling into this Worcester thing like that happened last time.
Well,
so
you already have. Tough. It's not going to be A category.
No.
3-1 you
low
lose. 3-1 you lose.
No, I'm not giving up on this gig. I need you three. Since it's 3-on-1 again, and I hate this. I want you three to try to convince me that this goes into this S tier.
It already has.
Look,
3 against 1.
It's 3 against 1.
This is a democracy, Greg. The democracy vote now is whether it's mid S or a high S.
What the fuck? I didn't agree to this at all.
Yes, you did. The second that you pressed the record button, you agreed to this.
And we did say that we were going to win. Well, okay, me and TheEltonBootlegs said we were going to win, but I'm guessing TSS Killer wants to express how he feels as well.
Yes.
I thought I was on top form.
I hope you like Milan 98, Greg.
You are so full of baloney.
I'll be like San Diego 75.
You are so no. I am not gonna sit through that. I refuse. I am not giving up.
You hear that? You hear that, everybody? Greg's going back on his promises.
No. NCF1 agrees with me. So there you go.
Well, he's not here, is he? So.
He's not here.
Yeah, that everybody. Greg's going back on his promises. What do you think of him?
He's like a politician, isn't he? I mean, he's got similar coloured hair to Boris Johnson. That's about it. Get your hair tidy.
Greg's triggered, I think, is now with a colon.
TSS Killer.
Yay.
Start 12-14.
All right. Okay, now, this is going to be interesting because it's one of those things where this is one of the only times that I'm going to have a very like a teetering score, because for me this is the gig where you really hear the band. This is the first real gig where you hear the nice tight band, where they're firing on all cylinders, and not just because this is this is the famous one that was recorded, that was broadcast on FM radio. I think it's because the performances are very great, very good. Like One Horse Town is still one of the best versions of all time from this gig, because just he sounds clean. The vocal switching sounds fantastic. Passengers, he remembers the damn lyrics of Wheels Upon the Jail, and Wrap Her Up is really good. Sorry, yeah, Wrap Her Up is really good, because I'm trying to think because the only downside I would give to this gig is that there's no Football Crazy and there's no Kiss the Bride. That's the only real downturn for this gig. But other than that, Benny has the extended B4s on Magazine. Restless is really, really good. I'm Still Standing is still excellent with a couple of random embellishments. But realistically, I mean, this is like one of those gigs where, and then Candle is really good too. Burn Down the Mission. Thank you very much, Mother. You know, that's better off there. Yeah, the lady in the audience makes it as well. Oh, Nikita, I love you. Yeah, but realistically, you really hear it's a great combination of Elton's voice being still pretty strong, still holding out the B4s on Magazine on Benny, and the band playing really tight. Like I really and I'm really torn between a high S and a low All Star. I'm really freaking torn. I'm really freaking torn on this because the band is just so good, and Elton's voice is pretty damn good too. And like I said, no real. I mean, the only real fault I really give it is, like I said, missing those like 2 or 3 songs on the broadcast. But other than that, you know what? I will stick to my guns. I'll go a high S on this one.
All right. For me, 1214 is one of the, it was one of the very first Elton shows I ever heard, along with Kansas City 82 and Boston 79. So me and the show, we go way, way back. Yeah, it's a classic Elton show. I love it. I'm glad it's in a broadcast, so we can easily hear everything going on. Band are phenomenal. Much better musicianship here compared to 1211. And yeah, they're definitely gelling here. And really, it gets better. As good as it is here, it gets even better later on. Very tight band. Elton sounds great. One Horse Town's among the elites. Someone Saved is an excellent version. I've always loved that. Candle, where he backs off the more aggressive voice and sings with a softer tone, so it sounds like a mature 79/early 80s voice, which is unique. And yeah, there's a lot of different singing styles he does here. The overdrive style is prominent, although on some songs he backs off it and sings cleaner, so you have a little bit more of a natural sound, especially on the ballads. Nikita is among the elite versions. Fantastic, one of the best of all time. Just nails the song. Can I Get a Witness is so energetic and amazing. And I really appreciate the show. I think it's excellent. And for me, some parts of this are actually better than Wembley '84. Although I think Wembley '84 is a classic show in its own right. But yeah, I truly love this show. This Town, Ice on Fire songs are amazing. All in all, fantastic. I will put it in the S tier. I'm thinking mid S, maybe a little more, kind of creep into the higher part of the S rank, but I think S tier suits this show really well. I think it's fantastic. Elton Bootlegs, how about you?
I'm actually in agreement here, and I would stick this at a high S. But in my ranking, it would go ever so slightly below 1211. But then I can see why you guys would probably put 1214 above 1211. Well, Greg would have it as an IA, but but yes, this was the first show that I became accustomed to, apart from 84 stuff. This is the first 85 show I listened to, and it sold the tour to me very easily. I just love the sound. One Horse Town is just such a beautiful version of the song. You Burn Down the Mission. We're going to do a song from Tumbleweed Connection, and it goes like this. Well, I'm not singing
Tumbleweed
it,
Connection!
but it shows off Elton's dynamic vocal range. The medley's very nice. Passengers is brilliant. He actually knows the words. Yay. Benny's great. I'm Still Standing. I remember this being considered the best version, and then we changed our minds. Nikita's right up there. Wrap Her Up is the best version.
Yeah.
Because
I forgot to mention, because you have actually Alan Carvell doing the George Michael parts. Because in the early versions, Elton would sing all the ladies, speak all the ladies on there.
He's thinking about the ladies, and his wife's probably stood at the side stage going, "Why are you singing about all these women and not me?"
I don't know. Can you fit Renata Blau
Also-
in the song? But
Renata Blau. There you go.
yeah, I guess you can.
But he didn't. Rap. But no, actually, that's what I was going to say. Alan Carvell on this song, I actually prefer him to George Michael. Like he nails the parts every single night without fail. I mean, there's the odd one where he'll flub a falsetto or stuff it up. Manchester's the example, but overall,
Also, the funny thing is Sheffield. Also, the funny thing is Sheffield says protection instead of yeah. All girls
That's
protected. All girls protected. Yeah.
But no, this gig for me, it's a very solid high S, and things are going to get better from here.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan.
I actually agree with Greg on this one. I think this is a very solid S show, maybe a high S if I'm feeling generous. As I said, Wrap Her Up is the best version of the song. Elton gets all the high notes at the end. I don't know if I prefer Alan Carvell to George Michael. I've heard Alan Carvell's voices more. I don't know. Someone said it's probably my favourite version, tied with Sheffield and another show we're going to get to later on. Burn Down the Mission is amazing. One Horse Town is right up there with the best. Falsetto accuracy is really good. Tonight has a lyric flub, but apart from that, it sounds really good. Voice is somewhat clean at the start of the show, which is nice.
You don't like the Manchester voice on Tonight?
And do you?
Well, it depends on my mood, but
Yes, he does.
Yeah, it's just a really, really awesome show. Yeah.
all right. Let's see. We have 1218 coming up, and I'll start this one. Now, 1218 was another one that Elton Bootlegs here purchased years and years ago. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep. See, I'm nice. I like to thank the people who make things happen. But for 1218, very interesting show. And there are some aspects of it that are mixed bag for me, but then there are others that are absolutely fantastic. So it was immediately very hard to rank this, and I'm fully on board for any disagreement because I will talk about this show quite a bit. 1218. First, we'll get kind of the mixed bag negative stuff out of the way. First of all, Elton is strong, but not as strong as 1214, not as strong as later on, and arguably 1211 from a consistency standpoint is stronger on the vocal side of things. On this show, the way he delivers songs, the overdrive phrasing is very prominent. You don't get the great dynamics that you would usually hear on some of these other gigs. Like here, even the ballads have more of a belty, forward, sort of a let's sing it full power. Now, I like that, but, ballad songs I would think would be more dynamic, have more of a soft tone. And I think he sacrifices too much of the dynamic ranges on the show on a lot of this material. I think he kind of overdoes it a lot on the overdrive and the belting, and so you don't get the full displays of his voice on here. The range is still there. The belts are strong, and the upper range is great, but it's like you're missing a few pieces here. Now, for the positive aspect, the band are absolutely on fire this whole show. This is one of the best band shows on the entire leg of the tour. Apart from Deity flub in the beginning of Rapper Up, where he plays the wrong chords, the rest of the gig is full of amazing musicianship. The Onward International horns are amazing on Restless. There's a lot of extra things being added to the songs. Like, there's a more spirited edge to their playing. Like they're celebrating. Yay, we're getting towards the end of the run. So I think that the band is the star on this show, and I think Elton's great, but I think the band are definitely, higher up on the praise factor compared to Elton. And while Elton sounds good overall, there's not a lot of performances from him vocally that I would consider to be elite from the tour leg. Like if I want more dynamics, I would go to Sheffield. If I want cleaner highs, I would go to Sheffield or 1211 or 1214 or a future show. If I want soft tone, parts of Last Manchester, Sheffield. It's like you don't get Elton at his best in a lot of areas here, although it's still strong. So it's like a jack of all trades sort of deal. For me personally, and this is just me, I was fighting between rankings, but I want to put 1218 at the lowest of S, but it's kind of teetering between lowest of S, highest of A, because of Elton's, lack of dynamics with the singing and being a little rougher on the edges. But I'm fully aware that everyone will probably have a different take, so I'm going to stick 1218 at the lowest of S for now, and I'll let some other people get in there and give me their takes. So, Elton Bootlegs, you start.
Well, my ranking for this show, I had a mid-S for it. As I said earlier, I felt that all the Wembley shows should be in at least the S category, and this show's no exception. His voice has a brassier sound to it compared to other nights. Some nights he sounds lighter, some he'll do the overdrive. This one has a brassier sound to it, which I quite like. Some of the earlier songs sound a shade rough. Once he warms up, he's absolutely fine. I really do enjoy this gig, especially when he gets to the latter half. I mean, Rapper Up's intro. Whoops. Hold on, Davey. I also enjoyed the lyric flub in Nikita. Oh, Nikita, it's like, that's not the words. But I like the fact that he's able to acknowledge it at the end. He's like, even though I got the words wrong. Kiss the Bride's fantastic. I love these 85 versions of the song. They're just incredible. Shame he doesn't know the words of Passengers, but that's a typical of the tour anyway. Yeah, I give the show a mid-S. The energy is still there. Very tight band as well. I'm a bit more generous than Greg is. Greg's just being grumpy, and it's finding
him out. Grumpy? I'm not grumpy. I'm never grumpy. You fucking asshole.
Well, considering you got your mother to bully me the other night...
we won't talk about that. We'll move on.
All right.
Moving on. I
hope you show her this.
Some careful edits. So we'll go... all right. TS... TSS. Can you, bring some control here before I completely lose it?
Okay, I'm actually going to side more towards Greg with this one for lower S, not lowest of S, but lower S. Reason being is Elton's voice in this gig I don't like really much. While it has because my problem is he does too much overdrive and there's a lot of intonation problems throughout the gig. The band do save it though from being dropped down and down the letter rank, but for this show, I don't. This is one of the rare times. This is one of the shows that I don't like to listen to. I just don't like the. He's just too punchy and overdriving, and a lot of times there's a lot more misses than hits. With that being said, however, I will reciprocate that the band are really, really good. I mean, this is upper echelon of fine work by the band, by the 13-piece band. But for a vocal gig, I would personally skip this one a lot because I don't like, because I don't know. It's just I guess it's just Elton wanted to be like too aggressive, and those aggressive tones kind of put it as a negative for me. But I would still give this an S rank based off of the music, and there are some good Elton vocal performances here, but for the most part, I don't like the delivery. That's just me. That's what I would usually, and also when I'm still standing, there's some very interesting flubs and intonation problems, and that's the only reason why it doesn't get a higher than a lower S ranking for me. But he's still in good voice, but it's just
That's
that I
fair.
just don't like the vocal delivery.
At least you stuck it straight in the S. He was considering high A for it, so you still lose, Greg.
No, I didn't still lost. My final ranking was a low S.
But you considered high A.
Yes, I did, and I admit to that. But did I put it at high A?
Well, you considered it, and that's close
I
enough for me.
didn't put it on the damn TierMaker. I put it right at the low S, right to the right of 1211 and 1214, exactly the way I'm supposed to. So you know what? We're gonna move on to Ethan. Go ahead.
He's rattled. He's rattled.
1280. This show is weird. It has some moments that are really good, but also Elton's voice is just fucking weird at this show. Again, I think he's trying to be more like TSS said. He's trying to be more aggressive, and that doesn't always work out. I'm a mixture of Greg and TSS and Elton Bootlegs. I'm sort of stuck in like low S to mid S because I don't know. It's just, plus something about this show that I think this is possibly the weakest show of the run that we have.
And the Wembleys,
Yeah,
Wembleys, I would say.
Well, according to
vocally,
TierMaker, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I think I'm going to side with a more sort of Greg and TSS's analysis of a low S. It's still an S, don't get me wrong, but it's very low.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I can take that. At least it's not high A.
See, Greg, he took it on the chin like a man.
Grr.
The next gig is 1219. The last Wembley show.
And this one's going to be really fucking easy.
So Ethan, since you're very enthusiastic and love to talk, I'll let you start discussing this particular show because I think you had some things to say about it today.
Okay, so yeah, this show is sex on legs. As TSS said, this show's going to be very easy. It's an all-stars. No question about it. It's Elton's best show of the run that we have. No doubt about it. The band are amazing. It's the best version of I'm Still Standing, at least vocally, probably. Burn Down the Mission has one of the best bridges he's ever sang. But Someone Saved is amazing. The power he emits from the show is just fantastic. So it's an all-stars, no question about it.
Now, since Sheffield somehow got into all-star, would you put this lower or higher than Sheffield?
Where did we put Sheffield? Is it low all-star?
Well, it's an all-star, but it's the only one so far. So do you think it's a better show or?
I'd say the band are better at. No, I was going to say the band are better at Sheffield, but I don't know about that.
No.
Well, I'll put it to the right of Sheffield, and then we'll
I'll-
figure this out.
I don't know.
But Elton Bootlegs. Is this a
Hi.
better gig than Sheffield? Hi, is this a better gig than Sheffield, or does it not belong in All Star, or where does this go?
It belongs in All Stars, and it is very, very close between this and Sheffield. Now, personally, I would have this ranked just below, and I say just below. It is one of those. It's like a 2-horse race, and it goes to a photo finish, and the winner is Sheffield by a short head. It's like yay! But it isn't as if to say to 12-19 you lose, because it's not exactly like that. Some of the vocal performances on this gig are just out of this world. Like, Burn Down the Mission, Someone Saved, I'm Still Standing are all... You could argue that they're the best version of the song. I mean, Someone Saved, you're going up against Sheffield, but still an outstanding version. Kiss the Bride, where he's doing embellishments in the first chorus. Not just waiting for the last chorus or the second one. That just shows how much energy there is. Also, when you get an all-star band to end the show as well, which includes George Michael, who apparently wasn't there for Wrap Her Up, so that's a mystery. George Michael can't be here tonight.
I was going to
There
say
he is, George Michael. Oh, right.
I was going to say, Elton even says in the show that he's not there, and yet he magically turns up for the encore.
Yeah,
which
he's
is
been working in a restaurant, but then they got him back. Even the earlier songs, I mean, tonight he does sound a bit rough, but his voice cleans up as the song goes on. One Horse Town's great. Rocket Man, apart from the lyrics stumble at the start, but he does that on a few versions on this. Like, he'll like she packed my bags. I was like, oh dear. Maybe it's a sign of things to come, but overall, I give this gig an all-star, but I have it just slightly below Sheffield. Nothing against it.
TS's Killer, I'll let you go next.
He's waiting here.
Totally agree with you guys. This is an all-star gig by far, and it is just a nostril lower than Sheffield. The band here once again are on fire, and combine that with Elton's voice. So this, you kind of get the combination of the vocal shape, like a really good vocal shape, and 1218's band. So it's kind of like a mix of both Sheffield and 1218 in that respect. But in this case, like I said, the band are firing at all cylinders, and Elton is having one of the best nights of his career right here. And realistically, there's really nothing else to say, but just listen to this show. This is definitely one of the most greatest shows you will ever listen to in this period in the Prime Live era, and this should not be missed. So definitely all-star, just below Sheffield, but it's a nostril lower. But this definitely deserves an all-star ranking.
Yeah, 1219 is, first of all, out of all of them, this is the best Wembley night overall. Absolutely the greatest one. You have the tightest band, or at least on par with 1218. And you have excellent vocals through the whole thing. What I find unique about this show, because everyone's comparing it to, Sheffield was brought up, 1218 was brought up. I see this one as a mix of a variety of shows. You have the 1218 band, so you have an amazing band that's just about as good as 1218. The energy is definitely very, very high. You have Elton, who, tonight does sound a bit rough, but towards the end of the song, his voice is pretty much cleared up. So you don't have really the coarse tone affecting the early songs too much. And then Honky Cat, even though he's conservative, especially compared to like Sheffield, he does do more album phrasing early on than other versions, which is unique, I suppose. But I really think, the early numbers are very good. But when you get to Burn Down the Mission, I think that's when the show just takes off into the stratosphere, and you get crazy renditions of songs. You got like Burn Down the Mission, which is one of the best vocal versions he's done on stage. Bridge is insanely powerful. Man, it's like, I remember that Elton Bootlegs said it's a shame that 10 months later he couldn't sing like this anymore.
Oh.
It's like you have a guy at the top of his game on this tour, just, you know, some of the best vocal performances of his career, and then 10 months later he could barely sing the songs. But yeah, this is definitely one of the definitive vocal shows for the era. And yeah, Elton sounds like the dynamic range is better than 1218 because you have more of the soft tone. The overdrive is still there, although it's not as prominent on the rockers, and he kind of reins it in more. There's less of the really rough intonation problems, and so the way he delivers songs, like, it sounds a little bit like Sheffield mixed with some of the aggression and enthusiasm of 1211 and the spirit, the unique phrasing on 1218, and then 1219 has like, it's like a combination of different styles thrown into this gig, and the vocal shape is better here than 1218, which I don't understand how the last gig of the run sounds better than some of the other ones. But, you know, that's still a mystery. You know, it's like 9 shows. You know, the 9th show has the best vocals, and it's got arguably the best band, or at least tied. So, yeah, 1219. For me, I was torn between 2 rankings early on. I'm gonna lean on the lower All Stars overall. It's not a perfectly flawless gig, but there's a lot of amazing stuff on there, and it's one of these gigs where this needs an excellent recording. Why couldn't 1218's tape and the 1219 tape swap? You know, but yeah, I would say low All-Star. Sheffield, I think, still has an edge, you know, on some of the performances vocally, but the band are a little bit better here. But yeah, I would say they're almost equal. So yeah, low All-Stars. So yay, we all agree.
Mm-hmm.
Woo.
Yes, we
Woo.
do.
Yes, we
Yes,
do.
I do.
And now I'm going to begin. Yes. I'm gonna begin the next one here because I'm really feeling it, and I'm gonna win this. So from Birmingham, you know, unlike let me do this again.
That was live, pal.
Sorry, I'm not even gonna try it now, but unlike the '84 gig from the same city, I don't quite get the lackadaisical sort of approach that's apparent through the '84 show. It's I really love this gig. I truly think this is one of the most underrated gigs from the tour leg. And the ironic thing is, when we first got the older copy all those years ago, we were praising the shit out of it. Like, you know, this is better than 1214. This is, you know, better than this. So we were all loving it. And then we started getting these other gigs, and then this got pushed off to the wayside in favor of other ones. And then it wasn't really talked about all that much. And then recently the master tape surfaced and got it, and I listened to it. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. And I'm like, wow. But yeah, Birmingham is one of my personal favorite shows from this tour leg, because, you know, you'd think after a 9-night stretch at the same venue, you'd think, oh, well, we're going to a different venue, it's getting towards the end of the leg, we might take things down a notch and kind of, you know, maintain a professional setup, but, you know, we'll kind of take it easy. Nope. On this gig, the band are just about as good as those later Wembley shows. The way the mix is set up is amazing, because this really highlights David Payton and Charlie Morgan and the backing singers. Like, just how good this band is. I love this gig. You know, Elton sounds sounds very strong, very unique voice, because the tone is a little smoky sounding. It's a little it's got that little bit of a rougher sound like 1218, but there's a lot more dynamics to the voice. The overdrive doesn't completely take over. He does a lot of unique phrasing on songs where he does album phrasing on Restless, which is rare for this time period in the choruses. There's songs where the soft voice is there, and then the power 84, 85 voice comes into full swing. So you have dynamics galore. Some songs are absolutely amazing to listen to. I love Restless. One Horse Town gets better as it goes on. Tonight's pretty coarse sounding, but thankfully voice clears up. Improv section of Rocket Man's very unique vocally, and the bands sound great there. Honky Cats has a lot of interesting phrasing that you don't hear on other shows. Someone Saved is one of my favorites. It's a very dynamic version of a song, up there with some of the best versions from the tour. Bitches Back is awesome. Burn Down the Mission has some great moments, very unique, a little experimental, where they're trying out things, and it's one of these things where it's loose, but it's not sloppy. It's a very unique gig in that aspect. Candle sounds awesome. Elton does flub some lyrics on like Kiss the Bride, and you have Passengers with my favorite lyrics. But minor flubs aside, I love this gig. I think it's underrated. But as much as I love it, I don't think it's all-star material. I would say Sheffield and 1219 have a little bit more of an edge to them. But because of the uniqueness factor for Elton's deliveries and the amazing band, I will put Birmingham at the highest of S's. I think it's not quite all-star, but I think it's, very, very, very solid, and I love it personally. So, who would like to go next?
Me.
Go ahead.
Well, I went to this gig, I mean, and it wasn't, as you said, it wasn't a lackadaisical approach like 84. So, I love this gig. I mean, I've got great memories of being there. It's a shame that my camera broke, my tape recorder broke as well. So, unfortunately, I only got one night. I can't speak in this voice all the time. I mean, Greg sounds like an Australian trying to do it, so...
Close enough.
Close enough. What do you mean, close enough?
Nah, miles. To be fair, actually, no, he makes a point. I mean, Australia, the reason it started was because of English convicts, so, it could be closer, but, so far away from here.
I hope NCF1's listening to this.
G'day. That's an Australian accent. I don't know if it's me or Greg being very harsh, but this is a gig where I could push this into the All-Star bracket, but below 1219, because there are performances on this gig that make me think All-Star. There's, especially the second half, once a few songs happen and they get into the show, it's terrific. Like, you listen to stuff like Benny from this gig, where you can hear Charlie Morgan and David Payton, they're just in sync. It is beautiful to listen to. It's a shame that Passengers has our favourite lyric club, because it sounds really good at this gig. This Town is an elite version. Nikita sounds great. And I know there's a lot of Soul fans in Birmingham, so that's why Can I Get a Witness was a very popular choice. I am going to go with a low All-Star for this.
Yeah, for me it's close, but I'm just thinking like upper S, like just shy of All-Star. So TSS, go ahead.
I'm also torn between Highest of S and All Star. But I will actually, thinking about it, because I actually listened to this gig extensively, especially since after the quality. First of all, this A quality recording really shows the real prowess of the band at this point. I would say that this is one of my favorites musically in terms of that. Yeah, there is. Yeah, Tonight and One Horse Town features some roughness, but then again, though, we also have roughness on other shows as well. But One Horse Town is unique, at least on this part. Unlike the next show, he still goes for the original phrasing in the run up to the B4s. So I give him credit for that. Hockey Cat, as Greg said, is very unique. Burn Down the Mission, fantastic. There's a dedication before Nikita for a 9-year-old that's in the audience, saying that we already didn't know the 2 songs that you wanted, but I will dedicate the song to you. And then he proceeds to deliver a very clean and excellent version of the song. Kiss the Bride with the C5 still sound really good. And I remember listening to this gig 10 years ago, and I was like, wow, this is so freaking good. Because this is one of the first versions of Kiss the Bride that we ever heard from '85. Because remember, 1214 doesn't have it, and it deserves the praise that it deserves. Aside from a couple of the lyric flubs, to be fair, we put Sheffield in All Star, and that has lyric flubs too. So I will put this in All Star, the bottom,
Yes.
because it's miles better than 1218. And it is slightly better than 1214 in terms of overall atmosphere and delivery. And it's better than 1211 because 1211, like I said, has the problems of the overdriving voice. Here, like Someone Saved, you hear like him being so soft to the point where he's almost vocal breaking, but it's so dramatic, it's so smooth and so soft. That I was listening to that earlier, like, oh my god, I forgot how good this version was. So this one goes to the bottom of the All Stars for me. This is extremely underrated. Extremely, people pass off of this all the time, especially now with the new quality. This is a must listen to.
Ethan.
I am also extremely torn. I'm not sure whether to put it in an All-Star or go with Greg and put it in S. Again, a very underrated show.
It's too fucking close.
Yeah. One of the most underrated shows of the tour with 12-3, I'd say. Fuck me, I don't know. I really don't know.
I need some love. I need some love.
Do it.
Well, just talk. We'll talk about what you think about certain songs, and then you can make a decision.
Well, I pretty much think what you guys think. To be fair, but I don't know. It's just like.
Well, here's the thing: is 12 you for 1219 you called it Sex on Legs. So
yeah,
is this Sex on Legs? You get the same Sex on Legs feeling.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yes.
Yeah,
but
yet
you never referred to this gig as Sex on Legs.
Right? I know, but
so that means it goes into upper S.
No, I didn't refer to it as that. But it's still
Let
still
him make
really...
his decision himself.
Yeah.
So Ethan, what's your decision?
The lowest possible All Stars you can ever get in your life.
You know what that means, Greg.
Also, thanks for the message.
You know what that means? It means you lose. You. Are you from Dudley?
Dudley, yeah.
Greg came into this thinking that he had the right approach to win, but he's not, and he's losing again.
His future's flashing before his eyes, and what he has to upload.
I hope you like F sharp 4s.
I
That are
hope
flat.
you like. I hope you like birthday gigs that don't go to plan.
I hope you like Mike Miller shows are absolute shite.
I need to go to Dudley and get my ass kicked. So
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, as somebody seems to call
Happy
it.
New Year!
all right,
Have your
That's
balls
right,
all right.
smashed.
Let me. All right. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna compose myself for a second here, and start Bournemouth. It starts on. excuse me, Bournemouth. I'm sorry.
Bournemouth. I love that fucking
You got
shit.
me all fucked up now.
Born without a mouth. Yeah.
No, I will win this. Just give me a little time. So
You said
for
that for the whole thing.
Exactly. We've been doing this for about an hour.
so
2 hours.
okay, so for Bournemouth, this is the second of two shows from the city. This is the New Year's Eve, New Year's Day gig, and everybody celebrates the New Year on the recording, which is great. Sadly, even though the quality is quite respectable, it's a very incomplete recording because we're missing quite a few songs after Someone Saved. We're missing like The Bitch Is Back, The Medley, and Restless, and Passengers, and maybe he sang the right lyrics, and I don't know. But we're missing a third of the show in the middle, but we have, a decent amount of the show. So this is going to be one of these ones where I put an asterisk by it because it's subject to change. First of all, this is not like Birmingham, so not even close.
No.
This gig, there's a very fun atmosphere on stage. It's a very lively gig. The energy's there. It's a very fun show to listen to just to hear what's going on. Elton, I believe, smoked a New Year's Eve joint before going on stage because there's a lot of goofy phrasing on some songs that just, like, it's not quite hitting the target. It's a little erratic. Now, to his credit, the Tonight is actually very good because the voice is surprisingly clean for being the first song. One Horse Town is strange because the falsetto sounds amazing, but he does strange conservative proto-Euro phrasing on the lead up before the falsetto, which is like weird. I don't know why he was doing that. I'm guessing the state of mind was, causing his deliveries to go off in unplanned directions. I don't know. But the general thing about Elton's performances are they're erratic but strong in a way. Like Honky Cat has weird moments, but it has like a random falsetto moment that I didn't expect. Someone Saved is very, very solid, but it's rougher than normal. The outro isn't sung as cleanly as like Birmingham and 1219 in Sheffield. And then I'm Still Standing, where the band and almost train wreck with Elton, going out of the one solo part. So it's like the band are fine, but I think the party atmosphere is overshadowing the prowess a bit. It's a looser band, and it's a fun atmosphere, but this is not the same band that you would hear at Birmingham and the later Wembleys or even 1214. And with Elton's state of mind being impaired to an extent, I don't think this is as good as any of the All-Star gigs. Not even close. I don't even think it's as good as the S gigs, even 1218 for the vocal faults. At least, his state of mind's there. And the band sound amazing. I think Bournemouth is an A show. And I would actually rank it under Manchester, the last Manchester, just because of the erraticness and the loose, almost sloppy playing in a few spots. But I put an asterisk by it because it's incomplete. So for me, Bournemouth is lowest of A, but to give credit, this town is fucking amazing. and I will let whoever's breathing, aka Elton Bootlegs, go next.
Well, we're all breathing. If it was just one of us breathing, the other two would be fucked.
Yeah. Well, I can hear you like going in the mic, so go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm sniggering at what you're saying. That's why.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can't have this gig below second Manchester. I think this is better, especially vocally. It's more vocally consistent. He's good from the start. Yes, there are moments where the mind is not 100%, but some of the performances from this gig are very, very punty. This town is terrific. I really dig the version of Honky Cat from this gig as well. Wrap Her Up's very nice. It's a shame we don't have Kiss the Bride here, because I'd love to hear a New Year rendition of that. Yes, there are one or two performances that are a shade weaker, but I do enjoy the playing on some songs as well, like Rocket Man. You can tell that, especially the piano playing, it's unique to the tour as well. So I would give this show a mid-A. I can't have it below second Manchester.
Well, at least you stuck in the same letter, so I can't be too hard on you. TSS, go next.
I agree with Elton Bootlegs here. It's going to go above first Manchester because here he's not sick. Even though, the state of mind is completely destroyed, the performances are much better. Like vocally, the party atmosphere is great. You have All Lang Syne, which you don't really hear. It's kind of funny, the band playing All Lang Syne, and in this town. So one of those rare times where you have a gig taking place in 2 different years. You have 12/31/85 and 1/1/86. So we're on the cusp there. Like I said, Rocket Man, unique. Yeah, and it's like, but I would say even though we're missing a lot of songs from this gig, there should be no doubt in my mind that this is definitely better than the first Manchester, because here, like I said, he's not sick. The mind is completely gone, but at least in terms of entertainment value for this gig, it's still better than 12/1.
Well, I agree with first Manchester being lower because that's B, but yeah. I definitely agree that Bournemouth is better than first Manchester.
Yeah, definitely. But I would say A is an appropriate.
I think this is better than the second Manchester as well. Just the voice would be my reason for that. Also, as well, although his mind isn't there, it's not like US 84 where he's completely not there. At least here you can tell that he's enjoying himself.
Yeah, and he still has the range too, so it's not like he's impaired. Unlike some other gigs that we're going to find out in about 3 months. But but at least his vocal range is there.
Yeah.
I had it below Manchester because I acknowledge that he's not, the tone is clearer here and he sounds stronger, but
in terms of like second Manchester,
I'd have it above though.
That's second Manchester. Yeah,
but
that's what I meant.
But why? But why? I had,
oh dear, Greg.
But why I had it? But why? Don't shut up. Why I had it below second Manchester or last one, what the fuck it is, 12/3. The third one. I had it below that because I just think the band are just better at that gig. There's no sloppy playing, there's no rough moments really. I just think it's tighter. That's the only reason why I would put it, why I was putting it under the last Manchester.
Fair enough, but I don't agree with you, so.
Ethan.
I do think you were a little bit too harsh when you said that, Greg, to be
Oh,
honest.
son of a bitch! Come on!
No, I genuinely mean that. Like, I genuinely think that was a little bit harsh.
A little bit harsh. I just explained things.
What, do you want me to suck your cock and say, oh yes, Greg, you are the greatest thing ever?
Yes, it would make me feel better right about now. I'm getting my ass kicked by you three during this whole thing.
Yeah, I basically agree with TSS and Elton Bootlegs. That yeah. Although the atmosphere is fantastic.
The atmosphere is one of the main reasons why I would put it above it.
And I like baritone phrasing on a rapper up. That's very funny.
It's like, so
Yeah, because think about it this way. Manchester has 8 songs that sound like complete crap at the beginning. Here, at least his tone is consistent throughout the entire show.
Yeah.
oh fucking hell! All right, can we go to Belfast? I'm tired of losing. So TSS, start first. Belfast 1-9.
Well, this is interesting because 1-9 is a fantastic show. Because I will say, let's say that from that. I'm Still Standing is still very, very good. It was actually one of the top versions at some point. But after going back and listening to it in the last several months, there is a bit of kind of breath control problems a little bit, because you see him breathing a little bit, and there's there's something about it that irks me about some of the performances. They're really good, but some of it I really hear that Elton has to take some deep breaths in order to sing some of the songs. I mean, it's not horrible by any means. It's just something that I actually just noticed about it. But with that being said, it's still like I said, still top-notch performances on this gig. I mean, One Horse Town is still really good. I mean, I can't take that away from it at all. But it is definitely an S-ranked show. It's just that I don't know where to put it. On the one hand, it is. I still want to put it low S, but I don't know where. That's the whole thing. I want to put it above 12-18 because it is better, but I don't know. I feel that that some of the 85 stuff is better than the 1-9 show. So I'm just gonna play it safe, and I'm gonna put it in the low S tier, but above 12-18.
Interesting. Because here's the thing. It's been 3-on-1 the whole time, and it'll probably continue. But I love it. But I've been thinking about it, and I honestly, I don't even think it's as good as 12-18, because my reason behind it is, yes, Elton's tone is better in that sense. It's not as rough or overdriven, and the ballads sound amazing. One Horse Town, one of the best. Candles, one of the best. And there's some great musicianship on the Passengers trombone solo.
Oh yeah, that's one of the rare times that I think on this part of the tour they replaced the sax solo with the trombone solo.
Yeah, and
actually no, I'm talking about this town. This town he had the trombone solo, not the sax solo.
Yeah, so it's a unique gig. I like it a lot. And again, thank you, Elton Bootlegs, for buying it on CDR all those years ago.
Yeah.
You're very welcome.
You know why? Because I love you. But but that doesn't change the ranking. I'm still pissed. But going back to Belfast, really, it's I somewhat agree with you. But honestly, just really looking at it, I don't think it's as good as 12-18 overall. In fact, I'm not sure whether to put it at as low S. I'm kind of teetering between the high A, low S, because if I'm going to take the vocals out of it and just listen to the musicianship, very solid, but the band are holding back. on this one. It's not like Birmingham. It's not like Last Belfast. It's a completely different band. Now, the performances are solid, but they're not as punchy. It sounds like they're holding back on this gig, like they're saving their resources. And it's not like they're lackadaisical or anything, but it's just, I don't know. I get the feeling that they're trying to save because the Belfast shows are the last shows on this tour leg.
Yeah.
So I think they were holding back on this one because I'm hearing these, and there's really nothing on this gig musically that's like, oh wow, this is the best musical version ever. I mean, I could point out a great guitar solo, a great trombone solo, and stuff, but there's nothing that really strikes me on the show as like, yeah, this is the definitive musical version of this is what I'm looking for. And even Charlie fucks up on Burn Down the Mission, which is rare for him.
Which is kind of fucked up because that's his favorite song.
Yeah, a rare Charlie Morgan flub on Burn Down the Mission towards the end. So it's like, I mean, it's a great show. I like it, and there's some great performances, but it's like, I'm gonna have the Great Britain people here, trying to get me all fucked up and riled up, but I honestly don't even think it's as good as 1218. On the musical side of things, I can argue maybe the vocals are a little better sounding, but I think the musicianship is definitely a few steps below 1218 and Birmingham and those S shows. So, to me, I honestly don't even think it's quite hitting lowest of S. I think it's like the highest of A, just thinking about it, because I think they're holding back way too much on this one. And Elton sounds great, but a little more not singing stuff with as much punch and a little more tired compared to like previous shows and then the next one that we'll talk about. So I'm right at the upper A here on this, but Elton Bootlegs, go ahead.
Now, my ranking for this teeters on the edge. I actually have written down in front of me high A/low S. But, and it pains me to say this, I'm actually siding with Greg this time.
I know it's painful, but it's okay. We treat you the
It's really
same.
painful, actually. I'm shaking.
Oh,
And one thing that... Go ahead.
The point about 1218 having more punch and being a better band show, I go with that. I fully agree with that. I mean, there are some amazing moments on this show. I'm Still Standing is still brilliant. Candle's a unique version. Passengers is still very nice. I love that trombone solo. Mwah. It deserves a chef's kiss. And God bless Rick Taylor. But there are other moments on this show where I would rather listen to other things from this tour leg. So, as much as it pains me, it's a high A.
Okay.
Ethan?
I actually also agree with Greg. Believe it or
What?
not. Yeah, I
Holy
know.
Are you okay?
I find this show like Manchester in the sense that I can't get into it. Like, compared to the next show, I can't get into this show at all. It's just something about it that don't get me wrong, like Manchester, it's a really good show. Like it's a fantastic show actually, but it's just something about it that's just I don't know. I can't seem to get into it as much. So I'm going with an A.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah, I mean, the rare.
Like
time...
I said, for me, it was either gonna teeter with me as well. So, because I'm thinking about, like, in terms of the vocal, it's better. It's better at 1.9 than 12.18. But yeah, the band though is better at 12.18. So yeah, I'm willing to compromise on that.
Oh, I can go to sleep at night.
Yeah, because realistically for me, the voice is out in front, and that's what it is. That's the only reason why I don't like to listen to 1218, because of that, the vocal style that's not really for me. But yeah, I can concede with that.
All right, we have one show left.
Which is going to be the easiest shit on planet Earth.
So
Yes, it is.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let TSS Killer start this one. So why don't you explain about the tale of 111 Last Belfast? Because this was a fairly recent one we got last year.
Yeah, this is one of the cases where a gig can change the entire complexion of the tour, and this is exactly what it did. This is the best show on the tour, by far, both musically and vocally overall. Shoot Down the Moon here is the best version. Candle has the your candle burned out long before your legend. The embellishment there, but the ending part, that was the first time that he has ever hit that live correctly in the stage environment, and it's probably one of the best versions of the song because of that. This and musically, this gig is absolutely fantastic. Like we've talked about, the trombone solo in This Town is absolutely fantastic. And the entire band, including Elton. Elton has the light tone that's going head to head to Sheffield. And Someone Save is on par with it. And it's very hard for me to fathom that the last gig can be as great as an early gig. But somehow it is. There is no doubt in my mind. The whole band is on all cylinders. Elton is on fire. His vocal tone is super consistent. And that's why this is going straight to the top at the All-Star, and it's number one.
Yeah, and I would like to add to that, because first of all, I do agree. It is all-star, no argument there. I do think it is the best show from this tour leg. I would say that, I'll expand on some of these performances.
Yes.
After One Horse, because One Horse Town is very, very good, and Elton gets better as the song goes on. And after he shakes off any sort of, coarseness and, nerves, by the start of Better Off Dead, he is totally warmed up and ready. And, Better Off Dead has the embellishment at the end.
Which is the first time for that as well.
Yeah, the embellishment is there. And he sings the song with a lot of aggression on it. And you have a lot of amazing vocal moments through the show where you have almost a return to Sheffield's voice, but it has the belting power of like 1219 and Birmingham mixed in there. So you have a variety of great things going on, and it's like, Rocket Man is just like, the 84 phrasing comes back early on, which I'm like, where did this come from? And then he, embellishes in the second verse. It's like, he's like emptying all his resources for this final show. He's like going all out. He's putting embellishments in songs. They sound great. And it's an amazing show. It's got, Restless is amazing. Mm. It's about as good as, the best 85 versions and some of the Elite 84 ones. The musicianship is fantastic, and if they were holding back at first Belfast, they certainly aren't here.
Also, it's the best version of Passengers because because Wheels Upon the Jail.
Yeah, see, he remembers the words like 1214, but he also does more embellishments. The vocal is sung with more confidence, and the amazing solo. So Yeah, that is the definitive live version to date. There's not very many faults, and whatever flubs there are, they're minor to the point where they don't really affect the gig.
Yeah, as in the case with Sheffield. That's why I'm.
Yeah. So it's like, the only it's really it's excellent. It's a near perfect show for this tour leg.
Must listen.
It's a must listen, and the quality is decent, which is great on that side. But man, imagine it in A quality.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, indeed. But yeah. So the gig is amazing, and I can't say enough good things about it. The candle is fantastic.
Top 10, probably in the top 10 shows of all time.
Yeah, like if you want a show from obviously the tour leg, but if you want the whole 85-86 tour, like looking at all the multiple legs, this show is absolutely up in the upper echelon of must listens. Otherwise, there's something wrong with people. But yeah, it is an all-star. It's the strongest all-star show that we have from this tour leg to date, and yeah, it's numero uno. So yeah, Ethan.
I mean, what more can I say? Yeah, it is the strongest show overall. It's maybe his best show of '86.
Yeah.
That's not a fair comparison, though.
Okay, how about tour leg 85-86?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, I mean, if 1219 is sex on legs, then what's this show?
Sex on a Rocket?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. What more can I say? You guys took the words out of my mouth, basically. Yeah.
Like what are some of your standouts for this show?
One Horse Town. I especially like when he calls the show Dublin instead of Belfast.
Oh yeah, that. He gets booed. Yeah, that's great.
Better Off Dead. Someone Saved. Anything really from this show's great. And again, like the minor flubs he does have, like I remember Tonight has like a very slight lyric stumble. But
yeah.
Again, I can write that off as
nerves.
So yeah. So yeah, I genuinely agree with you all.
Elton Bootlegs.
I'm a big fan of this show, and I'd like to give it a high A. No way, it's an it's a straight all-star gig.
Oh man, Leeds would like to talk to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, fuck off. I thought I'd pull your leg, Greg. No, this goes numero uno. Got to catch you off guard sometimes.
It's always
We've
fun.
been doing that the last few hours.
Yeah, the gigs. Well, you told me that I wouldn't be able to, and guess what? I have.
Yeah, you've lost.
I didn't. We'll get out that later. Go ahead. Talk about Belfast.
Fantastic place. I mean, it's easy to mistaken it for Dublin. One's in Northern Ireland, and one's in the Republic of Ireland. But yeah, I know the performances from here are just. They're some of the best from the era. Like you can really hear like the Sheffield voice coming back as well. If you could take one of these gigs and stand alone, then this would probably be it. Like it's you could say top 10 of all time. It'd be top 10 of the 80s definitely. Certain songs that I'm Still Standing is just mwah, Candle, mwah, Kiss the Bride, mwah, Can I Get a Witness is great. It's just I always enjoy listening to this, and I never ever get tired of it. Yeah. Hey Greg, I think that's what you need actually.
I'm going to.
But yeah, the love for this gig is not, should not be understated, because you have to really listen to this, and then it's miles better than the majority, than all of the tour, realistically, because it's what happens when everything comes together and the stars align, and this is like the perfect listening experience. The only real downfall of this is just, I wish this was like an A+ quality, but besides from that, you can't fault it. It's just perfect, and it's as close to perfection on this tour as you can get.
So perfect. But
Perfect.
Yeah.
yeah. So
All right.
So right now we got 12 gigs ranked on here. We got the 11 from the tour leg, and then
Live Aid.
Live Aid. So right now we have 1 B gig, 4 A's, 3 S's, and 4 All-Stars.
Woo!
And rightfully so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm thinking back to the '84 TierMakers. I have never seen an instance where there's more All-Stars than there is S. Because from what I remember, on the Euro Express TierMaker, we had 3 gigs in S, and we had 3 All-Star gigs, and then we added Monte Carlo there. But from the tour proper, they were identical. Then we go to America '84, and we had 1 S gig, nothing in All-Star. And here, now it's like 4 All-Star gigs and 3 S's.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So basically, I think what this ranking system shows is that this UK tour has a lot of great shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. And yeah, it's fantastic. It's definitely a recommended tour leg to listen to. Because you have some of Elton's greatest vocal performances, on this tour leg. You have early stages of this amazing band on here. Most of the gigs have very good audio quality. So it's not like you're stuck with a bunch of C-sounding tapes or anything,
Yeah.
which is a plus. And it's the last tour leg where, if you were to look at how Elton would sound later on in '86, it's the last gig where he was 100% at full power and 100% healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you go to Europe, you got the substance abuse and impacting the singing, and then you go to America and fun times. And then,
but also I want to make a note here. It's kind of funny to go back to this and think about, he sang these songs better at 38 years old than he did when he was in his 20s.
Well, thank you, Tom Bell. But yeah, it's crazy because you look at the set list for this tour leg. Burn Down the Mission. When was that last performed? 74?
74.
And how does that sound compared to these versions on the UK tour?
Yeah, it completely smashes them.
Yeah, it's all about the vocal control. And it's like, yeah, the voice is deeper, it's more mature, but the range is still there. So he's able to combine all that, and the falsetto tone is thicker here compared to back then. And then you go back to the songs that have been in the sets for years, or haven't really been dropped out. Like the last time, say, Someone Saved was played was '82, right?
Yes.
And how do those '82 versions sound compared to these '85 versions?
Flying fast.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the tempos are more reasonable on this tour leg.
Yeah. Also
They're
more
good.
mature sounding, so that's another thing.
They're good
Yeah.
on 82, but I mean, 85 it smashes them really.
Yeah.
Especially, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're good in UK, especially 82. But,
Yeah, and what I don't understand is how on this tour, like, he can hit every fucking note in the verse and doesn't dodge shit. Then you go back to, previous years and he's, like, skipping notes and stuff. And it's like, well, I guess with age comes wisdom. But yeah, so yeah, I do rank this tour, like, extremely high, no doubt. But I struggle with comparing it to Euro 84 because those two tour legs eat at me all the time. Like, I don't even know which one's my favorite between the two because I've always been the 84 fan, and my boater hats and tuxedos, I love them. That Euro tour is amazing, and then I come to this tour leg and it's like, oh, all these all-star gigs. So what tour leg is better between the two? I don't know.
depends what mood I'm in.
Yeah, it depends on what mood I'm in too. It's like, do I want the more stripped down sound and like Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, or do I want the powerful voice and Restless and freaking Candle and Passengers? That's and Honky Cat. Like, do I want that? Basically, do I want like a real full orchestral sound, or do I want a more stripped down sound? That's basically the takeaway that I get.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's amazing. And also on the Discord server, somebody asked a question. I believe the user's name is R3.
Okay.
And he asked a question that we would answer on this TierMaker, and
Sure.
I think we should give him a fair answer because he asked a very, very fair question. He I don't have it in front of me, but from memory he asked on this tour leg what song would you consider like the weakest or the most inconsistent, and if you had a choice, what song would you swap it out for this tour leg?
For me, it's an easy choice. Honky Cat is the weakest song on the set, and that's why it was dropped. I would have much rather heard like Cry to Heaven instead than Honky Cat, realistically, because imagine Cry to Heaven with the pristine 85, the UK 85 voice. That would have been fucking fantastic.
Yeah, and we got some Shoot Down the Moon performances that slay the records. So
yes.
I have no doubt that Cry to Heaven would,
I would have liked to have heard Cry to Heaven or Elton's song, and I imagine Elton's song in 85 would have...
Oh, shit.
Mwah.
Or let's put another spin to it. Instead of Honky Cat, why don't we have fucking Song for Guy? On this leg, oh my god. It would have been absolutely perfect.
Mwah.
Well, I personally would have liked the idea of Kiki D as a backing singer, and then she comes on and does Don't Go Breaking My Heart as an encore number. That would sound amazing every night.
But what would you think is the weakest song on this tour leg?
Arrangement-wise, your song. Sorry.
Ooh,
Helena.
That's actually a good point too.
Yeah.
That's probably my second.
Throughout the discussion, I'd never heard the song get mentioned once. And normally you mention it because there would be notable versions, but this tour is just.
I mean,
yeah.
don't get me wrong. Nothing against Helena Spring. She's got a good voice, but not for your song. She doesn't.
It's like no.
Yeah, normally that's a song that I would skip, and I would normally never skip your song, but on this tour, yes.
Yeah, I didn't think I didn't think the duet thing really suited the song, and it's a shame because like when Elton sings his parts, he sounds awesome, like on par with those
84.
amazing 84 ones. I'm like, oh, he sounds amazing, and it's like, yeah, like what Ethan said. I don't have anything against Helena Springs as a vocalist, but I just don't think your song sounded good with the duet arrangement. I much prefer the the arrangement they had in US '86, where Elton sang the whole thing.
Yeah.
And you had the horn section.
The saxophone, saxophone.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
at least Elton sang the whole thing. So
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, to answer that question that R3 said, there are 3 tracks that I would probably pick as like weaker for the set. One is Honky Cat. 2 is Your Song. And 3, this is going to be a tough one. This is a tough one, and I'm expecting backlash, and I'll explain. I think a song that was not necessarily inconsistent, but I think it just wasn't up to par with some of the other performances is Benny. Because on this tour leg, yes, Elton sounds fine, but unlike US '86, where you have these insane improv sections and amazing piano solos and going all out, you have a bare bones, kind of straightforward version of the song. And while Elton still sings the magazine notes, and there's some funny phrasing and stuff, they're not like '84, because '84 he would nail everything in the song, and you have the insane improvs that go along with it. So
yeah.
So I think '85.
Good point.
So I think '85 Benny's paled to '84. Go ahead.
But I can see why, because you've got a 13-piece band there, and you'll want to showcase them more often.
Yes.
That's my feeling. Why in '86? Because with the voice was going, so it's like, let's bring the improvs back. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, the horn section in Benny actually brought the song to life, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not saying it sounded bad. I'm just saying if you were to compare an '85 UK version of that to a US '86, I mean, there's no question which has the best musicianship and.
Yeah,
I think the arrangement was so much better in '86. I mean, if you had
because you have the piano solo.
Yeah, so
later,
so it's like those would be my 3, like songs I would.
I'm wondering if it was because of time constraints.
Well, I mean,
because remember curfew, there is curfew, and there is a lot of songs in the set. You remember you have to talk about 25 songs, 25 songs. And they probably had like a curfew at these venues.
Yeah, I mean, most of the gigs were over 2 hours, a little over 2 hours.
Right, but you notice that there aren't, aside from Rocket Band, there really isn't any songs that had a big improv section.
No, you had your solo sections from like, Davey and, and stuff, but you didn't have extended versions of songs on the UK leg. Those started really appearing later on
in Europe and in America, and then in '84 you get the extended versions, but they were only playing 22 songs or something, and the shows rarely went close to 2 hours. Well, and also they're playing faster.
Yeah, it was a little faster, but I mean, it could be time constraints, or it could be just them starting off with a bare bones version and then expanding upon it is. I mean, I
it was like Rapper Up. Yeah. Like Rapper Up had 2 different instrumentations on this tour.
Yeah.
Instead, that was more of a bassy intro, and then the guitar sort of took over.
Yeah. So I mean, like, so if I were to take those 3 songs and say, like, if I wanted to change them for something else. For that tour leg. A couple ideas I had. Cry to Heaven was one of them. Thankfully we got some great versions in Europe. But I would love for Philadelphia Freedom to stay in there.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
Because I have no doubt that he would still nail it. Like
he would nail it every night.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, like I have no... He'd be fine on it. I would have loved also to replace one of those with "Don't Let the Sun."
Oh yeah.
Because it sounded awesome in '84, and we know at Live Aid that band sounded great on it. So yeah, "Don't Let the Sun" I don't think should have been kicked out. And let's see, I'm gonna tell you a wild card, and I mentioned this a long time ago when I reviewed the self-titled album with Stan, all those years ago. A song I would have loved to have heard on this tour, particularly this leg, would have been a song called "The Cage," because "The Cage" is sort of a up-tempo gospel R&B-ish sort of a song. It's got a horn section on it, on the album version, and Elton in his prime live slayed the '70s songs vocally live. So,
Well, what kind of notes would Elton have had to hit at that point in time during the bulk of the song?
it's mostly fourth octave. The melodies around like A flat 4, B flat 4, and then there's some falsettos that go into the lower fifth octave. So it'd be a demanding song, but I don't think he'd struggle with it on that leg.
I think maybe he would probably drop a few of them, but he'd probably still be okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just think musically it would sound great on that leg. But yeah, I mean, those would be like the three songs. Not that they were bad on this tour leg, but I just think like if I were to think of the songs around them,
right?
You know, they're lacking something.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not disappointed that they're in the set. I mean, I still think the set list is fine. But.
You know. Actually, one thing that kind of came to mind. You know what? Another song that should have been played.
Which one?
"Come Down in Time."
"Come Down in Time" in the prime live. That'd be.
That would have been great. Or even "Take Me to the Pilot." I mean, even that.
Yeah,
imagine Pilot. Yeah.
Oh, it'd be interesting to hear it. You know, on
85 version on the Pilot, right? Yeah, that would be fucking great.
Now, for "Come Down in Time," would he do it solo, or would he incorporate the band with it? In your mind,
you would do the band because you could have the saxophone.
True.
You got Charlie.
Yeah, because I know he did it. I know he did "Come Down in Time" in '89 with the band and stuff.
Yeah.
But when I think of "Come Down in Time," for some reason, I don't know if it's just me, but I always think of "Come Down in Time" as like this excellent song that Elton could just do on the piano himself, because there's a lot of amazing solo versions he's done.
And to be fair, actually, there's some great versions from '95 that we don't talk about, really, and they're really good too.
Yeah, so...
I would have liked to have heard "Cold as Christmas" as well on this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Instead of
Cold
just
as
the
Christmas.
Aussie 86 versions
Also,
of dog shit.
I also floated the idea to Ethan and Greg the other day. Can you imagine who wears these shoes on this tour?
Overdrive.
Overdrive. Yeah.
Overdrive, yeah.
Darling.
The Darlings. But no, thinking about it, because we know live in Australia extremely well and what was played there. But if I were to take songs from there and put them in a UK 85-86 format, imagine an 85 version of "Have Mercy."
Oh, yeah.
Tiny Dancer.
Oh.
Yeah. Then it's like, then what's better, 84 or this?
I would have liked to have heard "King Must Die." I'd imagine that would be quite good.
Yeah, actually, it could have swatted well between Rocket Man and Burn Down the Mission.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's
another song is like Elton song. I'd imagine that would be really good.
Yeah, just him on the Steinway. I mean, I can.
Yeah, well, remember he had the JXAP connected on the MIDI.
Yeah, yep. So he could do it. Also, back to an earlier thing, I was saying, like, if I prefer 84 Euro versus this tour leg, because it's hard for me. For Elton's vocal, because I see this actually debated in my comment section, did he sing and sound better in 84 compared to UK 85-86, or is it too close, or what's better?
Ooh, it's tough.
Too close.
Because realistically, the 84 voice is him at his classic. Like, the mature classic. Here in 85-86, he has that, but he also has better breath control, especially in the post 1211. There's some instances where he has better breath control and better articulation with his notes. Instead of just, I know the gliding is fantastic and all that, but a lot of the later gigs on the UK tour have him articulating, and to me, if you have him articulate and be less off the gas, it sounds better than arguably the driving voice of 84. That's why in my opinion the vocals in I'm Still Standing are better in 85-86 UK than in 84, because in my opinion the problem is a lot of times he would belt it too hard, and sometimes the A flat 4s would not be on top. But also it gives better dynamics when he sang it in 85-86. So that's one point better than better for the 85-86.
I agree with that. Plus, I like embellishments a lot more.
Yeah, the ballads, however, they're on par with one another, but the rockers are better in 85-86. Like Bitches Back is better because it sounds more dynamic than 84. Because 84, you already know what's going to happen. You could either have gliding or overdrive. Those were the two options. In 85-86, you have a gliding, soft tone, overdrive, and a lighter tone that's somewhere in between the soft tone and the gliding tone. So you had more diversity in the vocal deliveries than you did in 84 and on 85-86 all UK.
Yeah, I always thought the voice on the UK tour of 85-86, you have, the bass range is still pretty much the same as 84, but I would think that he put a lot more emphasis on the mid-range power.
Even the lower range, too.
Yeah, because you have Nikita, and he didn't, but in 84, he really didn't sing that low in the live environment.
Yeah, B flat 2 on Blue Eyes, and that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's realistically about as low as he would go. But here, he'd go down to G2s, and it's like it's sort of a trade-off, because in 85-86 UK, yes, he changed the vocal melody on Benny.
Yeah,
but you also have him exploring lower stuff more. You have a lot of emphasis on that powerful mid-range, and the upper range on certain songs like Burn Down the Mission and Someone Saved is extremely powerful.
Yeah.
Sounding. So it's definitely a mature voice. And this man during this tour was 38.
Yeah.
38. And
doing 9 shows in a row.
Doing 9 shows in a row, and the last one being the best one.
Yeah.
And it's like,
could you imagine Freddie doing that?
Makes my throat hurt thinking about it. But
yeah.
But yeah. So you look at this voice, and man, I tell you, when you look at the set and the stuff that he brought back, like One Horse Town, the performance
Tonight.
before. Yeah, the performance before 85 One Horse Town was what? Wembley 77?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that sounds nothing like UK versions at all.
Yeah, you don't have Dennis Hemorrhoid Conway.
Yeah, and plus you have a more confident vocal.
Yeah. You don't have him going flat towards the falsetto as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
the only downside realistically with One Horse Town is that he doesn't sing the entire lyrics. But I am willing to completely overlook that, because the vocal performances are just so much more consistent here.
Yeah,
I think it's more due to speed, if anything.
Yeah,
he
it's
changed
much
the
faster.
Yeah, he changed
much
the
faster.
lyrical arrangement. Yeah.
Just trying to fit that in one breath is quite hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and
Have a
it's
sin, horses, backwards, tails, and pain.
yeah, and you look at the songs, and you look at the songs on this tour leg that showcases Elton's low to mids. Like your Nikita, your This Town, Shoot Down the Moon.
Yep.
I can't see him pulling those off well a decade earlier.
No.
And it's not even a 75 tour thing. It's like that voice he had in the mid 80s was very rich and strong. Sounding.
Mature.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear Nikita at San Diego '75.
Oh, that would have been sick.
Airing.
but yeah, so yeah, R3 asked a really good question, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna give you answers to that.
And we did.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, this TierMaker, we love the tour leg, and I think it's safe to say that although I was in excellent form tonight and I was at the top of my game, I don't quite think that I won this. I think I was.
Understatement of the year, ladies and gentlemen.
So.
Milan 98, let's go.
All right, kiddies, shout your gigs. What do you want?
San Diego '75.
Well,
and for Queen, I'd like 9584. Thank you. Lots of love.
Well, I've got everyone's punishments written down. TSS, did you get one for Queen? Did you put?
Oh no, I did not. No, I did not. And let's see. I want Greg to upload. Let's see. I'm just trying to think of it. Let me think about it for a couple of seconds here. Second Osaka 76.
With a new
I was expecting first Fukuoka 75, but never mind. 76 rather.
I can't even get the fucking dates right. But yeah, it's just.
And me, you forgot about me. I want Brussels 95 for Elton John.
Fucking asshole.
Because I want to hear Take Me to the Pile.
Take you to the pile.
And for Queen, I've been nice. I've given you San Diego 80.
Okay.
All right, that's good.
Process 95, you're an asshole.
Take me to the pile. Wow, you're so.
Well, I'll uphold my end of the bargain, but here's the thing. Once I get this TierMaker up, we're looking at the big picture here. So
yeah, I've been waiting this shit for 9 years, Greg. You know that.
Yeah, so now you guys have a choice. Should I dive right into the 97, or should I delay it with all these stupid requests?
Get the requests up there.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I don't see the big picture one going until early next year anyway.
Oh, I can see it being in December, but okay. But yeah. Oh. So I'm will you stop?
The sound of exasperation.
I am not. I didn't lose. Okay.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. I was just.
Okay. Everybody that thinks Greg lost, say aye.
Aye.
Greg says it himself. Whoops.
Well, no one's gonna agree. It was. I put forth my best effort. I still have the support of the National Cassowary Foundation, the guy, and others on my channel. They agree with me. Yes.
That's lovely, but you lost, so.
Yeah, but this wasn't fair. So
Yes, it was.
it wasn't, because 3-on-1 isn't fair. It should have been 2-on-2.
Well, it's not my fault that you had different opinions to TSS, to Ethan, to myself.
It's not my fault. You had bad takes as well.
The takes aren't bad.
To be fair, I legitimately lost one.
Yeah.
So.
But I lost what?
Which
3,
means,
4.
But that means I win.
Oh no. Okay. So, You fucking asshole. Now I'm thinking about you did win. I can't believe this. You actually won, and you were bragging it for the last 2 weeks that I'm going to win, and then you did.
You kicked your leg out of your leg.
Oh.
God damn it. I mean, look, I am so furious that I put all this effort into uploading these shows, writing these descriptions, and I brought forth passion and emotion and great takes on why I put these, and the most people can say to me is I lose, and I have to upload shows that no one else wants to.
You gotta love that drumming.
Okay, so okay, that's fucking it. So what we're gonna do now is we answered our threes question. So we're gonna move into sort of the final thoughts, conclusions about this. I think it's kind of easy to deduce what everyone's take is, but after going through all these shows, listening to everybody's takes, re-listening to everything, did your original opinions change about this tour, like in general? Were there gigs you thought were higher ranked, were lower? Or...
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Birmingham ranked much higher than I originally thought.
You know what the embarrassing part about this whole thing is concerning that gig?
Yeah.
I thought, I chalked up as underrated, and this is.
And it is underrated. And it
shows.
still is and to be honest, it still is underrated.
Yeah, I chalked it up for being, I think it's, upper tier S. I really love this. And then all of a sudden I hear All Stars. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. The gig I'm ranked, I'm, in the corner with here is getting a higher ranking than I would have given it. I'm like, are you kidding me? But, no, but, and let's see, some other embarrassing things. Oh, the Sheffield thing absolutely blew my top because I had it all planned out. And to hear you say All Star, I'm like, what? I was like, I had to stop for a second and think about this. So yeah, my take on this is I was not expecting to be so humiliated and having gigs ranked higher than I thought they were going to be ranked, even though my genuine and smooth arguments got completely blasted.
Yeah.
Well, me and Bootleg did tell you that you were going to be humiliated. You went, oh no, I'm going to be completely fine. I am.
I was in top form. I didn't realize you guys were going to be in topper form. That's not even a word. What the hell? That doesn't even make sense.
You said to me 2 weeks ago that I had to turn up here in 100% condition, and
I was 100%, and it didn't work. So that means I have to be at less than 100% now. Because if my best effort wasn't good enough, then
yeah, and actually the real funny thing is that I really didn't prepare for this.
What the hell? What are you talking
But
about?
I'm still on top because, like I said, my memory is as sharp as
what
freaking.
What is wrong with? Oh, I'm not prepared yet. You lost less than me. That's bullshit.
Well,
that's bullshit.
You have to remember, Greg. I am like the analytic king. The analytic.
I'm the analytic queen. Oh, excuse me.
No, you're not.
No, okay, fuck it. No, I'm at Prince. No, whatever. Fuck that. That's getting edited out. No.
Edit it out. Yeah.
Shut up. But it's like, I am so disappointed in myself for allowing myself to get my ass kicked. I thought I was going to
do better next time, Greg.
I can't. It's going to be your era. How am I supposed to do better?
You just don't.
Look, as long as I get...
Rose going to lose again.
As long as I get the silver medal, I'll be fine.
Nah.
But no, I'm gonna. I gotta think about what the fuck to do next time. But yeah, I totally was not expecting some of these rankings. People are saying I'm too harsh. I underrate things, and Now I feel bad for making fun of Elton bootlegs for the fucking Leeds thing. Now it just feels like.
Well, like I said, I think it's all about like the individual. I think that's the way that we look at things.
Yeah, we got to band together and.
Someone from my other podcast has actually described it best. It's like we all look at things from a different lens, and I think that's what makes it. I think that's what makes it unique. Where you have, we can agree, but there's also other reasons why we disagree. But still, we looked at things under different lenses. So
literally, all but like 1 gig, 2 gigs, we all had fucking different rankings, and a lot of it were against me. It's like I'm GregsynthWizard. I could do what I want on my channel, and I still got my ass kicked.
I love that. Right, I love that theory.
then again, though, I mean, if you look at what I do, freaking Pokemon Journeys, it's like I get my ass kicked all the time, but I don't. But I soldier on, and I just state my piece, and I go the fuck home.
That's what I'm doing. I can't go home because I already am, but I am definitely stating things here. I cannot believe I lost this.
You gotta take the L. Like I said, people take L's all the time.
Oh, I'm gonna take the L, but I have.
Yes, you are.
But I gotta take a cold shower. But it's like I was not expecting this. Like my own personal tier maker would not look like the group one. That's all I'm gonna say.
No, that's the reason. That's the reason why it exists, because you have a different one, you have a different opinion than everybody else, and we could agree to disagree.
Yes, and it's like, and that's what irritates me so much. I thought everybody was just gonna agree with me, but I guess not. So okay, Elton bootlegs. Did you feel a sense of satisfaction about this tier maker? The fact that you won, and that, like, were you expecting the tier maker to go like this, like the rankings, or were you surprised? Like, how different was this compared to your tier maker?
Well, compared to my tier maker, it's pretty much perfect. There's like 1 or 2 minor differences, but yeah, I won, you lost.
Ethan.
I was surprised that you wanted to put Sheffield with an S, to be honest.
Will you stop? I was putting it at the highest of S, which is still not far off All-Star. Then everyone's sucking that gig's cock so much that I had to put it up.
I'm shocked you wanted to put 12-11 as a high A.
Yeah, me too.
I had legitimate reasons, dude. It's not going against you. I love you. But still, it's the fact that it's not as musically tight. But still.
Oh dear.
Without question, I love you. Right?
That's not helping. But basically, I am humiliated and embarrassed on my own tier maker series. So
now you know how I feel, Greg.
How you feel?
Yeah.
You weren't humiliated and embarrassed on any of the previous tier makers.
Yeah, but I've had my squabbles and other ventures, so yeah, I know how it feels.
Hey TSS, isn't Second Worcester a great gig?
Will you fuck off? Will you stop with that? I am over that.
Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
I am sick of that. I mean, that gig was sentimental to me, and you guys ruined it.
Yeah, settled metal, yeah. Sure.
We gotta settle.
Hiya, sure, yeah.
No,
okay, next.
But yeah.
Greg, you should have settled.
I ain't settled shit. But basically, yeah, hiya, sure, yeah. But okay, so last part about this goddamn tier maker. Okay, this is actually a little more serious instead of me ranting about shit. Okay. So 84 Euro, we had 3 All-Star gigs. We had Milan, we had Leeds, and we had Edinburgh. Leeds was the top All-Star. Edinburgh was the lowest All-Star. Here we have 4 All-Star gigs for UK 85-86. Difficult question. Now, I gotta be serious for a minute. How would you compare the All-Star 85-86s to the All-Star Euros? Are these gigs better than Leeds, Milan, Edinburgh? How do these compare?
They're as good.
some spots better.
Yeah. Partially because vocal control is better at the 85, 86, as we've said, with the articulation and also vocal control, and also the dynamics.
And Charlie Morgan.
Yes, Charlie Morgan.
David Payton. Where are we getting Charlie on again?
After I recover, because I ain't gonna face him now after this embarrassment. But
I would love his input on 97. Oh my God.
Yeah. And if he starts getting on me about not putting things in All-Star, I'll let you guys take over the TierMaker and I'd leave. But,
I can imagine Greg starting with Winston saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna give this a high A." High A.
No, I wouldn't give it a high A because TSS is here. So that'd be. But it's like coming over the damn shows. But the thing is, for Leeds 84, we love that show. That was the All-Star Best 84 gig on the year.
Yeah.
How would you compare Leeds 84 to Belfast and
Belfast
Sheffield?
is better.
What? Okay, Sheffield.
Sheffield's still better.
Yep.
The Sex on Legs London gig, 1219.
Better.
Birmingham.
Better.
Better.
So essentially, all these 85, 86 gigs that are All-Star are better than all the All-Star 84s.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if Leeds can't beat these, then. But Leeds! Vocal control is absolutely fantastic. He only hits one bad note on the whole show. And then amazing Too Low for Zero. Philadelphia Freedom's wow. Candle is wow. It's like I can't believe everyone's turning on Leeds. I feel sick. But it's not an A show. It's All-Star. But, you guys got me so upset now over this.
Oh.
So upset. Now I have to go back and give Leeds respect. Hey, Ethan, Milan has Hercules.
Hello.
So
Yes. So does Leeds.
I give up. I had a great time on this TierMaker. It was fun getting my ass kicked. I'm like, I can't do this. It's like, it's
Well,
three
you
against
gotta remember Milan 98. Before the solo.
Juicy.
Kicking ass.
I mean, you've got every right to upload this first and then upload the
Yes, you do.
Yes.
dedications.
Yes, you do.
I have one request from all of you. I have one request.
What
That
is that?
what did you like? That you like when Elton doesn't hit G2's and Nikita right?
Besides that, I have one request. If it makes you guys feel so great, you guys can have fun at my expense on Discord and the YouTube comments.
I already have on Discord, don't you worry.
Because here's the thing. I will take a loss. But it was an amazing loss. I put forth my best effort.
Yeah, and you did, but you still lost.
Yeah.
You lose.
Come on.
We love you, Greg.
I can't believe it. Oh yeah. So
Man, Greg out here sound like freaking Kermit the Frog, very like Kermit the Frog being like flabbergasted. All right,
I'm getting fucked in the ass by Miss Piggy now. So
This is Kermit the Frog 10 years later where he can't do the voice anymore.
I am so sick of this crap. Can we stop making fun of me? I'm fragile. You know, this
What do you mean? Hang
killer.
on. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Yes, it does. I'm fragile. I'm being made fun of. I need to go to my safe space.
You said
Other
so
things.
unfragile. That means
I
you're very
said-
sturdy.
I thought I was strong and sturdy, but you guys are ruining my mental health right now.
Oh.
This isn't fair. This TierMaker was rigged. But
Sorry.
Rigged.
I didn't realise you're such a Donald Trump supporter.
This is rigged.
It was rigged.
No,
So
we need
people
a
coughed in
do-over.
the right answers, did they?
Charles Ingram needs to cough at my answers. I need Techman Whittaker to help me, but still, yeah, but still, it's it's like we need a do-over. We need to start this whole transaction over again.
Transfaction.
Yeah.
We need to start this thing over again. We need to redo this.
No, we don't.
No.
Okay, all right, fine.
Because you'll get the same result.
No, I'm just gonna.
Yes, you will.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna try even
Yes,
harder.
Doesn't matter how many times you recount it. It's still going to be the same.
Okay. I shake everybody's hand here and say that I put forth an enormous effort and I did my best, but the 3-on-1 assault was too much for me, and I will bow out graciously with a loss.
Yes.
Woo! So,
Yes, I do.
No!
Freedom.
I hate this. Oops. There's a slight problem.
What happened?
What?
I forgot to hit record on OBS.
No, you.
We got to do this over. I'm sorry. I'm kidding. I'll take the loss.
You silly Billy.
No, it doesn't matter. If he didn't anyway, I would have taken a screenshot of that shit and we would have uploaded it anyway.
All right.
So you still lose it. Yeah.
I can't. I'm trying everything that I can to.
You can't.
come out.
Well, you tried pulling out all the stops, but it failed.
I got nothing to show for. I'm embarrassed. I'm humiliated. Thank you. Fuck you. Bye. No. But still. But yeah. So I'll take the loss. It was fun doing this.
Yes.
Let's stop this before I embarrass myself even further.
I'm still standing after all this time. It's giving me